Faithful. Well, a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Jeez, have my headset on here. This is all terrible. There we go. There we go. Now we're rolling. A lovely Wednesday. Happy hump day as you get set to 60% through the week in a few hours. Lovely. As they say, as always, Gregor Show is presented by title sponsored playalberta.ca. And hey, get in the game. And I would just say, if you're looking for an individual bet, Kyler Murray's rushing yards right now might be one you want to look at for the Arizona game. Just saying. Stay within your limits. Playalberta.ca. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. It is game day. The Oilers are currently in the air, at least the players that are going to Winnipeg. Really cutting it close. Don't have an airport. Got to get in town, take a bus. It's going to be tough, but they'll get there. And that's when you know Stuart Skinner, that's the type of teammate Stuart Skinner is. He wanted this game. Kris Knoblauch talked about it, how, Stuart Skinner had looked at the lineup, and originally he thought, Pickard might want to be there because he's from Winnipeg, and I guess Pickard kind of joked, goes, nah, I don't really like playing there. So Stuart Skinner was like, no, I want it. And if you look at it, I think his reasoning is very sound. If you're a goaltender and you want to get into a preseason game, you want to face some shots, and you probably want to face a few quality shots. You don't care if you get beat as much as it's about getting your timing, getting your feel against NHL players. And the Winnipeg Jets lineup tonight, there's a lot of NHL players, more than the Edmonton Oilers roster, although the Oilers do have a few. But if you look at the Jets lineup, specifically up front, well, really their whole lineup, but up front, they're going to go with the Scheifele, Connor, Velarde line. They've got Ehlers and Nemestikov playing with young Brad Lambert. Lowry with Anderson, Dolan, and Niederreiter. And then Kupari with Gustafsson and Ford. It's a lot of NHL forwards. Like, what is it, 9, maybe 10 of those guys are regulars for the Jets, and a lot of them top 9 guys. Even on the back end, Morrissey, DeMello, Sandberg, Pionk, Stanley, Miller. Not sold if Stanley and Miller are going to go for sure. You might see Lundmark and Samuelsson. But either way, going to be at least 4, probably 5 NHL, maybe 6 NHL D-men for the Jets. Capo Kakinen will be the goaltender. For the Oilers, a little bit different lineup, but it is one, Stuart Skinner will get the start. Probably he's going to play at least 30 minutes, might stretch it to the full 2 periods. Kris Knoblauch said it'll depend on how the game's going, how many shots he's had, how he's feeling, yada, yada, yada. So that's what you'll have with Skinner. On the back end, Kulak and Emberson will play. Deneen, Wayner, Hoffenmeyer, and Carrick. Up front is where, for those of you that will be watching the game tonight, you'll want to pay attention. Because the fourth line battle will be front and center tonight. Maybe a little bit of a pun intended there. Front and center. James Hamlin, Lane Peterson, Noah Philp will all play center tonight. Derek Ryan also in the game, but he's actually going to be on the right wing with James Hamlin to start. Now, I don't know. I know the players that are going. I'm not 100% sure on lines. I do know that the rookie, well, he's not, he's first round draft pick. He's going back to junior, but Sam O'Reilly will get to play with Connor Brown and Mattias Ekholm to start the game tonight. You'll have Hamlin and Ryan. I think Kajula is a good lock to play there. Then you have Lane Peterson, Arvidsson, Savoy, Hoffman, Philp, Seth Griffith. I could see, a Philp, Griffith, Savoy line maybe if you wanted. Maybe you go Hoffman with Peterson and Arvidsson, or maybe Savoy and Arvidsson, or Savoy and Hoffman switch. We'll see. Right? But, they'll mix it up. But those will be the forward combinations tonight. De Jong was also a guy who didn't skate, so they might be taking an extra forward just in case to Winnipeg, because they don't want to get there and something happens and then you got one less guy for a preseason game. It's usually the coaches don't want to. I think some of the players would be like, no, I'll take a few more shifts, please. But that will be the lineup tonight for the Oilers and the Jets. After tonight, Kris Knoblauch mentioned he expects that specifically his top three lines, you're going to see them get some time together in the preseason. Now, he outlined that he would like most of his players to play 4 games. So McDavid and Draisaitl have each played 1. After tonight, there's 4 games left. I think they're each going to play one of the home games. Now, they might both play in the same home game, but either way, they'll play one of those games, which is Saturday and then Monday. And then they'll finish up with 2 road games in Seattle and Vancouver. And I think you'll see them play in both of those games. And you will see the Arvidsson, Draisaitl, Skinner line as a trio. You'll see the McDavid line together, probably Henry, Janmark, and Brown. And then the fourth line, just because there's so many guys competing for that job, it's going to change and look different all the time, according to Knoblauch. So you'll get a little sense. I know we got some texters already wondering, why is Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Skinner have yet to play together? Why is that? Well, he believes if they'll have 2 games together as a line, maybe 3. And he thinks, they'll be fine. They're veteran players. They've practiced together a lot. It's not like they haven't done it. Now, I do agree that the games are a little bit different pace. It's totally fine. Totally fine. But I think Jeff Skinner has proven he knows how to play in the NHL. Same with Draisaitl, same with Arvidsson. You know what? You can gain a little bit more momentum and stuff, but I just think their natural skill overall will work, and they'll have lots of conversations. I think they should be fine. Hey, Greg's veteran move by Pickard, avoiding the bus ride. It's very true, JR. JR and Red Deer. Solid move. Hey, Pickard's no idiot. He would give you the old meme, right? Finger on the head. There you go. Tapping on the old temple. Smart by Pickard. But I also think Stuart Skinner, he wants to play and he wants to face some quality opponents. I think it's smart. I think it's really smart. So on the show today, we'll hear from Yaremchuk. Also, Mattias Ekholm. Interesting comment on Ekholm on the evolution of Evan Bouchard. So we'll get to that coming up in the first hour. We'll also hear from Kris Knoblauch on a few things about his team. I didn't get to Troy Stetcher. Really, I really enjoyed my conversation today with Stetcher. We might not play that until either tomorrow or Friday. We'll see. Just because of the show and lineup tonight. We have Mitchell Clinton will join us. We'll get the Jets side of thing. He's a Jets radio analyst. Also, Spec will be by. Neville Gallimore, LA Rams defensive lineman, will join us on the show today. We got a few NFL and MLB players coming up this week. I'm quite excited about it. So we will have Gallimore from the Rams. They just had a massive comeback win. Also, now he was cut by Miami earlier this year, got picked up. So we'll just talk to maybe about the difference in the coaches. So lots to talk about with him. Also, Who Is It Wednesday today? Now, our Who Is It Wednesday guest, we try to be somebody in the sporting world. And there's lots of different avenues in the sporting world. We've had players, we've had GMs, we've had broadcasters, we have had therapists, athletic trainers, equipment trainers, media guys, gals. And today, somebody who gets a bird's eye view has been to the Olympics, Super Bowls, Grey Cups, Stanley Cups, been all over. And if you're a sports fan, I think you're going to quite like this. Also, we might get into some stories of some of his coworkers that you might know quite well. So that's coming up today at 3:00. I'm looking forward to that. As always, you can get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440 in our inbox. time to load up the top line and score in the power play with Ewell. Ewell.ca is your star supplier for quality electrical gear in Edmonton and area. EWEL.ca. Last night in the world of sports, you had a lot of teams in baseball clinching. What about maybe it was fitting. I don't know if you saw it. The San Diego Padres have been the hottest team in baseball since the All-Star break. They clinched their playoff berth last night by a 9th inning triple play. It was quite the feat, and the Padres have had 8 comeback wins of 5+ runs this year. They've had a game where they had back-to-back jacks. They've had a no-hitter. And I got to find the guy on Twitter to give him credit for it. But I was reading his thing of all these things that have happened very rarely in the history of MLB, but the Padres have had all of them happen. And it was just kind of fitting. Anybody who's a Padres fan, you clinch on a triple play. And not just like it was a hard rocket to third base, over to second, boom to first. And they are moving on. And trust me, they're not going to be an easy out by any stretch of imagination, man. You look at the baseball playoffs right now, and you've got lots of teams that are good, right? The Yankees are in, the Guardians are in, the Astros, the Orioles have clinched. You've got the red-hot Detroit Tigers who've come out of nowhere, and suddenly they're in the second wild card spot. Well, they're really tied with the Kansas City Royals, but they only the tiebreaker, so they're ahead of them. They're 8-2 in their last 10. The Royals are 3-7. They've gained 5 games just on the Royals in their last 10 games. And the Twins are, I guess, still mathematically alive, but not by much. God, if you're a Twins fan, that's going to be it's kind of reminiscent of the Blue Jays 1987. God, that was one of the worst. That was even worse because it all happened in the last week of the season. They gave a playoff spot to Detroit. I think they lost all 6 games. Oof, brutal. Over in the NL, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Brewers, and the Padres now last night have clinched. The Mets and the Diamondbacks are currently a half a game up on the Atlanta Braves. Ooh, that is quite the race. So the Braves, the Diamondbacks, and the Mets. 2 are in. One of them is going to miss. And they have the 5 games left for the Braves and 5 games left for the Mets and 4 for the Diamondbacks. So, and the Diamondbacks have suddenly lost 3 in a row, Connor. The Braves have won 3 in a row to narrow that gap, and suddenly they're only half a game behind them. Man, Arizona, could be another little bit of a gag job here down the stretch. But I don't know if you're a baseball fan or not, people, but I'm telling you, the stretch drive in MLB has been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in the Diamondbacks last night, 10-0 against the Giants, not a great performance. But yeah, just going back to the Padres, I mean, they're a team that realistically, they're only 2 games back of the Dodgers, who are the next 2 opponents, the Dodgers. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that they can track them down here and surpass them, which would be kind of crazy with the money that the Dodgers spend. Side note, the Padres spend a ton of money as well. Obviously, I've got a soft spot in them. I love the city of San Diego, and I hope for the Padres to clinch the division in that fashion against their bitter rival in the Dodgers was certainly special. The call was amazing, so I'll be rooting for them for sure. Love Fernando Tatis Jr. They got Machado. They got a nice list of recognizable names. They've spent a lot of money. That will be the bandwagon team for me, without a doubt. And 9-1 in their last 10, certainly playing some of their best ball.
Oh God, they've been the best team in baseball since the All-Star break. So I know we got a few Padres fans texting the show. About time you guys put some respect on the name of the Padres. From Nick. I like it. Guys, I was fortunate to go on a baseball trip started beginning of September and saw games in each of Baltimore, Washington, Philly, and wrapped it up with the Yankees. It's a great trip for oddities. 2 of the games were blowouts. In the 9th inning, they brought in non-pitchers for the last 3 outs. Both gave up serious bombs from Stewart. Well, Stu, that sounds like a pretty fun trip. And yeah, hey, you know what? Pitching's hard. And sometimes, you know what, when those position players get in there, if I was a batter, like I know somebody like, oh, just see Shohei Ohtani that game when he went 6 for 6. One of his home runs was against a position player. So what? I've seen guys try to hit position players and they don't do it. Don't do it at all. Hey guys, the worst thing about that 87 year for the Jays was George Bell had that MVP and then he went 0 for 16 on that weekend. Oh, I know. God, that was terrible. Like, I was a diehard Jays fan then in my mid-teens, and that was just gut-wrenching to watch that. Oh, so bad. Terrible. Hated it. Brutal. Hey, guys, did you having James Duthie on? Scott Russell? Good guesses, but no. Not those guys. But our guest probably will share a few details about one of those two. Has worked quite closely with him on many occasions. So, no, it is not James Duthie. Hey, guys, tell me I'm wrong. Lavoie is getting a lot of opportunity not only to show the 3-4 line skills, but also be showcased as an asset from the burglar. I think he might be reading a little bit too much in the last one. Raphael Lavoie's played 2 games. But if you look at it, so when he scored his goal, it's on the power play, which is something he's not going to do here unless there's an injury. And then the second game, he got to play regularly with Leon Draisaitl. Great. But he's not going to do that in the regular season, not when Victor Arvidsson's here. So I don't really know if it's a showcase. Because the Oilers, they don't want to lose Lavoie on waivers if he goes on waivers. And, that'll be part of the conversation. And a lot of people think the Oilers are going to go 12-7. And I don't know about I get because it's all about accruing cap space. I understand that. First of all, it's unrealistic to think they're just going to go 12-7 and barely have any. And even if it's a short-term injury, you're going to have to call somebody up. They might go 12-7 for a week. Sure. For the majority of the time, I'd be surprised. Just because of health and everything else, I'd be a little surprised by that. But Raphael Lavoie, like when you say for an asset, if they don't keep him on the roster and he goes on waivers, either a team claims him or they don't. And if they don't, I don't think he has much tradable value at that point because the team could have just taken him for nothing. So we'll see. There's lots of guys like he's kind of a tweener. The biggest challenge for Lavoie is that he didn't really penalty kill in the minors. He's not going to be penalty killing here. And because you have Hyman and Arvidsson on your right side, where does he fit in? Now, I guess there's a chance that they could play him with Henrique. However, I'm Kris Knoblauch. Janmark and Brown were outstanding in the playoffs. Am I going to put them in the 4th line just to see what Raphael Lavoie does? He's not as good of a forechecker as Connor Brown. He's not as quick. Right? Brown's great with his stick, knocking pucks down. So, Lavoie, now he's not playing tonight. He's banged up. They're hoping he'll be back on the ice Friday. Tomorrow's a day off for the Oilers, so they're hoping he's back on the ice then. But he's still in tough. It's because where does he fit into the puzzle? That's the question. Now, all he has to do is make it really difficult for them to think he doesn't fit in the puzzle. Similar to Hamlin and Philp. Now, the difference is Hamlin and Philp. Hamlin, even though he's played 4 years, his first 2 years, he was on a AHL only deal. And then when he signed his NHL contract, because he was 23, he now has 1 year left until he requires waivers. So good for the Oilers, not great for James Hamlin if you're somebody who wants to be in the NHL. But him and Noah Philp could both be sent down. And keep that in mind. That's pretty important without clearing waivers. We know that side of it does become a factor at times in the final cuts. 833-401-1440. It's Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. We'll return. We'll get to Yaremchuk, then Ekholm and Knoblauch and more on Wednesday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Other heroes hiding in plain sight. Gee, it's construction. But who are these supermen and women in hard hats? Why? They're the ones with the power to offer services such as infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and more. And when they're finished doing what they do best, everything is covered and invisible to everyone's eye. So don't look for them in the sky. They're out on the roads and in your neighborhoods. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
Ain't it beautiful?
What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for Kids Sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapickout.com.
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in work and cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has work and cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
'23. Welcome back. Wednesday afternoon. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook and X. Also streaming at sports1440.ca. And it's time for the, we'll go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. As they, of course, are one of the most versatile electrical companies in the province. You want tag, they can do it. You have solar on your home or your business, they can help you out there and everywhere else. Go to actionelectrical.net as we welcome in from Oilers Nation Daily Faceoff. Tyler Yaremchuk joins us. Ty, who do you see trying to fill the multiple holes that Evander Kane leaves in the lineup?
Oh, that is a good question. I like what you talked about at the end of the last segment there about, the Brown and Janmark duo. Like, they played really well with Adam Henrique. And when I look at that three, I think Connor Brown is going to have a much, much better or maybe more complete season than he did last year. I think slotting him into your top 9 is totally fine. And, maybe Janmark isn't quite a third line player, but again, if those three work well together, maybe you use them in more of a defensive role. I think they have the ability to be a perfectly fine third line. And, maybe you leave the door open for a guy like Vasily Podkolzin to come in and steal the job. But when I look at the Oilers, like, again, third line, fourth line, and I guess the line with Adam Henrique centering it is going to be labeled as your third line, but maybe there's even an opportunity to build out a bottom 6 that has one line you can use defensively and one line that has a bit more offensive punch. And maybe that opens the door to pairing up like a Podkolzin and a Lavoie in a bottom 6 line. And again, you just keep Janmark, Henrique, and Connor Brown as a bit more of a constant in the bottom 6, as a bit more of a dependable trio. So I don't think they don't have anyone that can fully fill in Evander Kane's spot in the lineup, because he still, even though he's inconsistent, is a bit of a unicorn in today's NHL with the way he can play physically and score from distance and like all those things he does. So I don't think they can naturally fill it, but I think they have enough intriguing pieces to survive this absence.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think they're going to crater by it. I think, like his physicality, the fact that he had more hits himself than the Oilers' current top 9 wingers, that's, to me, like, over the course of a season, there are different ways at different times in games that you can do things. And, Kane's an intimidator on the ice. Kane's also a guy who barks back at the opposition, and brings a little bit of I think, added mojo to your team. Now, I'm not saying the Oilers are going to fall apart. I just think it's an element that's lacking. And I think if I'm Stan Bowman, when I'm looking at an element I might want to add to my team at some point, a little bit of more grit and sandpaper, and obviously with skill, is something I'd look for. The problem is there's not many of those guys available.
No, there's not. I will say, like, you talked about the lack of hits in the hit column or this hit stat. I do think, a guy like Victor Arvidsson, while he's not going to go and blow anybody up, he gets in there and he forces turnovers by forechecking. Zach Hyman does a similar thing. Mattias Janmark, again, isn't going in there and blowing anybody up, but he's going in there with a good stick. And, during a playoff series, I'm always looking at the guys who can lay those big hits on the forecheck, because I think you can wear down a defenseman and get them thinking about you more and more. When it's the regular season and, you're never really playing a team twice in a row, I think having guys who can go in there with a good stick and just forecheck and create turnovers that way is, close to just as valuable as a guy who'll go in there and steamroll someone behind the net.
Possibly, yeah, but I looked at, like, Arvidsson, I think the most hits he's had 5-on-5 in his career is 24. So he's not, but I like him. Like, he's an edgy player, plays hard. He'll give you like a cheap shot here and there, but he's not going to run guys like Kane. Kane keeps everybody a little bit aware just because of it. So I think it's like, I looked at Clattenburg, and it was funny. I talked to Kris Knoblauch today. He believes that Clattenburg will be in the NHL within 4 years.
Wow. I mean, high praise. And that's a guy who's been doing those kind of things to get on the radar, right? You go out there, play physical and things like that. And that's the other thing too. Like, you just talked about Lavoie, where the goal he scored, everyone's like, how can he not be on the team? Okay, he's not going to be in that spot on the power play as an Edmonton Oiler. But you look at a guy like Clattenburg, nowhere near the junior player that a guy like Raphael Lavoie would be. But if he learns how to play good bottom 6 hockey, he'll find a way to get into the league.
Oh, 100%. Like, there's different elements. Now, you know what? Raphael, well, the thing he does well is he shoots the puck. It's great. He's a one-timer. But you have to have more than that to be a top 6 scorer. You can't just be a one-time guy, right? Like, you look at the best one-timers, Stamkos, Matthews, Ovechkin, they do a lot of other things. They're able to one-time the puck. It's when people used to tell me, oh, yeah, Yakupov, great one-timer. I'm like, what are you talking about? He misses half of the one. He misses the net half the time or whiffs onto the other half. Like, you have to do other things. And Lavoie's biggest challenge right now is that he doesn't penalty kill. And if he's going to start in the bottom 6 and he's not on the penalty kill, it's going to be hard to get in the lineup.
100%. Like, again, and this just goes back to some issues the Oilers have even had in the past, where you have guys in the bottom 6 who come out of a game. And I guess you could use Lavoie as this example when he came up for a brief time last year. you look at the game sheet at the end of the night and you're like, well, he played 8 minutes. They barely played him. Look at these other guys who played 13, 14 minutes. Yeah, because they spent 3 minutes on the penalty kill. And also, if you're getting out there on the penalty kill, your legs are under you. Like, I believe that makes your 5-on-5 minutes as a bottom six guy more effective because you're not just coming into the game cold after having sat on the bench for 8 minutes or sat through an intermission in the first 5 minutes of a period. So it kind of snowballs a little bit where, yeah, if you can't penalty kill, your minutes are going to be down. You're going to be down and your 5-on-5 play won't be as effective.
Yeah. Tonight in Winnipeg, Sam O'Reilly is going to start the game with Janmark and Brown. So good for him. I look at Hamlin's playing center. Lane Peterson's playing center. Noah Philp is playing center. Derek Ryan's playing right wing tonight on Hamlin's line. Now, is that because the coach like, we know exactly what we get from Derek Ryan, so we don't need to play him at center? I think there's a part of it for sure, but he didn't play center in his first game either in Calgary. So I'm just kind of like, I'm wondering, is that fourth line center spot open?
I think it's definitely up for grabs. Derek Ryan, you'd assume, is the incumbent, has the upper hand on all of this. And maybe even a part of it is just seeing how James Hamblin can play with bottom six kind of line mates, right? Like, I guess you could put him in that Janmark Brown spot if you wanted to do that as well. But, maybe it's just seeing how he plays with another bottom six guy and Derek Ryan. But I do like, and you added the note to all of this, they're going to move this around a lot tonight too. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think they're going to be running with the same four lines for the entire 60 minutes in Winnipeg. So the one guy who's been grabbing a lot of positive attention, at least from what I've read and from what I've watched, is Noah Philp. And I don't think he's quite, just because he took the year off last year, I don't think you start with him on your opening night roster, but I think he's one of those guys that with a good training camp can be an earlier call up than maybe we expect.
Yeah, I looked at Philp, and when I talked to him, the hardest thing about a year off was, in traffic. That's like, you can skate, you're in good shape, all that stuff, face-offs, not a problem. But when you've got to make those quick plays in tight, your muscle memory, everything there for now, obviously Kucherov and those guys, people say, well, they had time off. Yeah, they're Kucherov. He's top 5 player in the world. So other guys, he's saying for him, that's going to be the hardest thing. Like he said, it was just nice to get hit because he hasn't been in the game in 16 months. And just when you feel hits, you find out, okay, how's my cardio? How am I wearing down? Yada, yada, yada. So I've liked Philp. I thought, the second game I noticed a few times that where, the puck, he was fighting it a little bit. And I just think that's going to come with time more than anything else. And I agree with you. I think he probably starts in the minors, but I think I'll be floored if he's not up to Edmonton before Christmas.
It is quite the story. Again, to take a year off and to come back. And I mean, yeah, like you said, a couple moments where he's fighting it, but like the guy hasn't played a hockey game in a calendar year. And obviously I do play-by-play for the University of Alberta Golden Bears. So I got a chance to watch him for a year and a half. And man, just the natural skills that he has. And then you put that together with being a big man, like he can score, he can rip the puck. And I think that could translate. Like I'm very, very high on him.
Yeah. I think, he's a smart player. And the other thing is the advantage he has, because every one of us, I don't care if it's a fan, media person, a non-fan, coach, everybody has slight biases. And his advantage is he won't have this guy's just a university player bias because his coach played there. His coach really respects it. He understands it. And I think that will help him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his coach is a university player, and the Oilers organization should be looking at the fact that they've gotten a couple quality years out of Derek Ryan. I know a veteran who proved it in the NHL as well, but that bias of he's a U of A guy, they don't crack it. No, the Oilers as an organization are a prime example of good stuff can come from that U Sports level.
Well, Corey Cross, Ian Herbers, you go back in time, there's been quite a few of them. So it's good. And I think it's always irked me, to be honest, about the NCAA free agent and all the hype that people get over these players. And 90% of them don't really go anywhere, but the hype's unreal. And you got guys in CIS who I would put them head to head, and I think they're just as good. And it's something that Canada, like the NCAA, they've really fired it up. NCAA free agents, they're the ones. And there's lots of teams that have kind of bought into it. They haven't done the same with the CIS guys. And a lot of those NCAA players, we've seen it. They get one-way contracts right out of the chute rather than, guys in CIS or U Sport are getting two-way deals. So it is still one where I think there's a clear perceived bias that if I was U Sports, I'd be working hard to try to change that.
Yeah, I'll throw another name just because this is a guy the Oilers obviously had interest in signing him to an ATO at the end of last year. But Marc Lajoie was at rookie camp, and he's going to be a Golden Bear this upcoming season. And I think he's a guy who's going to thrive at that level. I think the first game for the Golden Bears is in 3 weeks. It's that middle of October or somewhere right around there. You'd think I would know, considering I'll be there. But I think Marc Lajoie is going to have a very impressive year with the Golden Bears.
Okay. Tyler Yaremchuk joins us in Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Is there anybody else that you look at, or is it's so kind of obvious now that it's just a matter of, what are the lines going to be? And like, what about Podkolzin? Like, he's the guy that I wonder at some point if, like I've always said it, Mattias Ekholm, if he's on my fourth line in the regular season, whatever. But I can understand why he's a third line guy in the playoffs, because the guy's a gamer. So I wonder if Podkolzin at some point we see him get some time with Henrique, who's obviously a more offensive player than who's ever going to be the fourth line center.
Yeah, and I like Henrique too. I mean, he's got a good nose for the net, and he always seems to bring like a pretty calm element to the game. And just from the little bit I've watched Podkolzin here in the preseason, he's got a little bit of chaos to him, right? Like, he skates pretty well, but he likes to mix it up physically. He can be a little bit all over the ice. I'd be intrigued what that duo could kind of look like if you were to put him with a nice, calm, defense first veteran centerman in Henrique. Maybe there's a bit of a fit there. But of all the guys, if you were to throw the Lavoie, Phil Peterson, Podkolzin, all those kind of bottom six competing pieces, if one of them has a chance to be like an impact top 9 guy this year, I'm taking Podkolzin and his upside over a Ralph Lavoie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No question. But the advantage Podkolzin has, he's got more NHL games. He's also a penalty killer, and that is a bottom 6 player. You got to be a penalty killer, or maybe like Corey Perry, where you get some second unit time on the power play, right in front of the net. And that's the difference. People say, well, why is Perry getting power play time over Lavoie? Because they play totally different positions on the power play. All right, you've got Jeff Skinner. Now, are you going to take Jeff Skinner? Now, I know he's a left shot, right? But Arvidsson and Skinner are likely going to be ahead of Raphael Lavoie on the power play.
Yeah, and again, that just goes back to, like, if you keep him on the team, where are you going to play him? Because if he needs to get 10 minutes a night to feel like he's in the game, all of that has to come at 5-on-5, and that is a lot, or I shouldn't even say 10, I should say 12 or 13. Like, that's a lot of time to be playing your fourth line in a game. So that's the problem with Lavoie. And I know the waiver thing is obviously a factor in all of this, and you touched on the fact that, like, James Hamlin doesn't need waivers to go down, and Noah Philp doesn't need waivers while Peterson and Lavoie do. I understand that being a sticking point right now, but also this is the easiest time of the year to just slip a guy through waivers, right? You go on one of those days where every team's cutting down their roster, and I think it's easier than potentially in December or January when you might get a bottom feeder who's got 4 injuries and goes, we'll take a shot on that guy. Why not? It's a free ticket. So I think right now is probably easier to slip guys through.
Yeah, no question about it. So it's something that now the thing that Lavoie has going for him that he didn't in the past is he does have NHL games under his belt. And it does look different for opposing teams. And this guy did play in the NHL rather than he's never played in the NHL. Right or wrong, that does have an impact for sure. Ty, give me your thoughts on the Buffalo Bills, and how excited are you about your Bills right now?
I am beyond excited. I know coming into the year, I did think people were writing them off a little bit too much, but there was a part of me that was nervous, and not so much with the Diggs thing, but more on when the defensive injuries started to pile up through training camp in the preseason. It was like, oh God, if the Bills are going to have a bad defense this year, do they have the offense that can score 30 plus a game to outpace that? But what Sean McDermott's done is proven that he is a defensive genius. He's done it time and time again now, where he and his staff can work through however many injuries they go through in a year. So the defense isn't a problem, and Josh Allen might win MVP this year. So if you have a top 10 defense and an MVP level quarterback, you're going to be a great team and you're a Super Bowl contender. But they're a Super Bowl contender every year. It's just nice that all that talk about their downfall and their demise, it was greatly exaggerated. I'm having a lot of fun watching the Buffalo Bills right now.
What about the Ravens defense this week? What do you see?
I'm, again, not worried about it. I think that Ravens team is maybe a bit of a shell of their former selves. And I saw a stat about how many air yards they've been giving up on plays or attempts longer than 20 yards and how the Bills have victimized teams in that area better than anyone else. So I think there's maybe even a bit of a mismatch there. So I cannot believe, if you want to give a plug to Play Alberta, I cannot believe the Bills are opening up as underdogs in this football game.
I know. I was kind of surprised by that. So that could be, but you know what? The home team in the NFL, it's tough for good teams to lose at home. It happens, of course, but not often. Well, unless you're the Cowboys, they seem to lose at home all the time right now. So we'll see. Ty, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Oiler game tonight.
Sounds good. Thanks, Riggs.
There you go. That's Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face. We got a few. Hey, Greggs, when are you and Ty and Frank doing your pod regularity again? Tomorrow is our last once a weeker, and then starting next week we'll be back to 2 times a week. So I guess technically we're back officially starting tomorrow because it's Thursday, Monday, Thursdays from now on. If you like to listen to the pod, Daily Face-Off. 2:41 when we return. Oscar Klefbom has an answer about Evan Bouchard that I think many of you are going to want to hear. It's typical Klefbom. It's insightful. Sorry, Klefbom. Ekholm. It's insightful. Well, Klefbom is insightful too. Insightful and gives you kind of a sense of, very honest assessment of Bouchard from Ekholm. It's coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Gateway Toyota treats us like we're precious gems.
Because that's what we are.
Every vehicle purchased from Gateway Toyota includes enrollment into their GEM program. It stands for Gateway Exclusive Membership.
And it gives you 5-year access to over $2,500 in benefits.
Free oil changes.
Free tire and windshield repair.
Free car washes.
Even an annual detailing.
You'll also get special discounts, trade-in bonuses, and referral rewards.
I feel like a gem.
At Gateway Toyota, just off Calgary Trail at Ellerslie Road.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's #1.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Herrenschwiener. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree
Wilhawk beef jerky is the best.
it might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhawk beef jerky today because you don't win friends with salad.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay during the factory-authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denham Ford, in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
.47, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And we're all about the team here at the Sports 1440. Big shout out to Steve, of course. We hired him in sales a few weeks ago, and he's been crushing it and working really hard and landed his first 2 deals this week. So shout out to him. And if you want your company to be a part of the station, send me a note and I can get you in touch with our new GM of sales. Big hockey fan, big sports fan. Supposedly like a 5 handicap in golf. We'll have to see about that. We'll have to see.
He's got the GM tag?
Yeah.
That's fancy. I'd go to him if I wanted sales.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So love it. Love it. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Where, of course, Canada's only 13-time winner in Excellence Award for a Volvo dealership in service and in sales. And right now, they got some great deals on XC60s, XC90s. They're blowout prices. Save up to $8,000. Stop in, say hi to Jordy and the gang at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And we'll start, first of all, Cons. We'll get to the Bouchard comment in a second. But we'll just talk. We're going to listen to Ekholm here, of course. A few seasons ago as a member of the Nashville Predators. He lost the Stanley Cup final. He went all the way to the final, lost. So you still have just as short of an offseason as the winning team. And did you notice a difference? How different is it when you have that short offseason, good or bad?
It's so long ago, I don't even remember. But it's different, obviously. You come back and some guys on the team have some bumps and bruises here and there from sacrificing, going deep, obviously. But I think it's the good thing about doing that is you have a good feeling inside about what you did as a team. And obviously we didn't make it all the way, but we got darn close. And that's something that we had momentum, obviously going into that game 7, and we got to try to find that momentum right away as we go, because we know this season won't be any easier. Now, obviously we beat some teams in the playoffs and they're going to want to get us back, and people kind of see what kind of game we have. So it's going to be a hard start for us, but I think if we can try to find that momentum as quick as we can, because I remember the only experience I have of it, we had a really successful season the year after. So if you can find that momentum right away, it usually can go a long ways.
Camp in last year, you were kind of fighting something. So does it feel, even as a veteran, just to be able to be healthy and do whatever it is you normally would do in camp to prepare for the season.
Yeah, huge. It's such a difference. Obviously, last year you were just trying to play catch up throughout camp and start of the season and months into the season. So just to be able to feel really good physically has been amazing. It's nice to be part of things and obviously be in some games here and get moving. So I feel good personally, and I'm excited.
Since go way back to some extent, what's it been like having his family around your family? They're living near you, or how's that going?
Great. Yeah, it's been awesome. Obviously, he's got 2 kids, and our both daughters go to the same preschool, and then we live about 5 blocks from each other. So it's been easy for us to help them out too with the little things that you kind of have to take care of when you move, and especially when you move with kids. So having them close has been awesome. Obviously, we played I think about 8 years together in Nashville and kind of grew up together. So to have them come here, it's been amazing. I know they're both from northern Sweden. They love the snow and the cold, so they chose to come here, and then we're happy to have them.
Mattias, you and Bouchard, of course, played a lot together, have a lot of continuity. You and Desharnais became really good together on the penalty kill, but obviously he's not here. How do you find that chemistry? How long does it take to find a new kind of D partner on the PK?
Great question. Obviously, he was a right-handed guy and a big guy, really good penalty killer in Vincent. But we got guys that can kill on our team, and I think it's not just about maybe the D partner; it's about the 4 guys that are out there. I feel like what made us successful in the playoffs was we almost had 2 units going out there, almost 3 units at some point. That all 4 just worked together, and we had a system where it was really clear what we wanted to do and what we wanted to accomplish out there. So I think it's going to take some time. Obviously, he was a big piece of that, and so was CC, and Broberg was in there a little bit as well on the back end on the PK. So we'll have to try to rebuild that. It's a lot about confidence. It's a lot about reads, and sometimes in an 82 game schedule, your reads are not going to be perfect every night. But when you can string some together, usually that can flow into somewhat of a streak. So we're hoping to do that early. But if we don't, we'll work hard to make sure we find it.
Yeah, we should just end it right there. It was a great question. I think we have to end it right there, Cons. No. Kidding. See, the thing is, when a player says that at the scrum, everybody else just chirps you. So it's comical. But here's the answer that I think many of you are waiting for in regards to Mattias Ekholm. So, of course, Ekholm, since he arrived in Edmonton, has played a lot with Evan Bouchard. It's now been a full season and 2 playoff runs because, of course, Ekholm was acquired at the deadline of 2023. So, it's over 100 games. You throw in the playoffs, it's closing in on, 2 seasons of games pretty much with Ekholm and Bouchard. And he was asked kind of like what he sees from when he came here till now in Evan Bouchard.
He's just a smart hockey player. And I think at first when I got here, he was just still trying to find his way offensively. Now he's so confident and comfortable with his offense that he can just start to flip that thinking and, okay, I can play defense too, because it's just to flip the script really. And he's got naturally good reads, good brain out there. IQ is really good. And I think he's realized that if he wants to be that number 1 guy that plays 28 minutes a night, you're going to have to play some defense as well. You can't just outscore your opponent every night. So I think that's been a realization within him, and I give him full credit for it. And I think us as a D pair has kind of found a way to play defense in an efficient way to make sure, because usually we're out there against some quality competition. So you're going to have to play some defense. And I think he's done a tremendous job of just finding his spots, when to go, when to not. And he's really good with breaking out the puck and reading plays. So I thought it was more a matter of time than anything, and he's showing that right now.
Really enjoys the level of just high hockey sense that he has from playing with Evan Bouchard. And you know what you heard there? It goes, hey, if he wants to be a top end guy, it can't just be in the offensive zone. And that's what you've seen from Bouchard. I thought Bouchard's taken huge strides, especially the last 2 playoffs. I think Bouchard has been much more engaged. And hey, the regular season, I don't need Evan Bouchard running it, guys, or anything. What's the point of that? But the last 2 playoffs, I don't think anyone can deny the level that he's taken his game to. He's on the ice defending leads. He's obviously on the power play, 5-on-5, big minutes. Now they're gonna mix him in on the penalty kill. I don't know if he'll be one of the regular top 4 guys just because of minutes, but they will use him on the PK this year, according to Kris Knoblauch and Paul Coffey. And Knoblauch, about tonight's game, he just asked, are there certain players, with these tough decisions looming, that when you're in the course of the game as a coach, are you watching some guys a little bit closer than you are maybe just coaching?
Definitely, we're looking at other guys a little more clearly. Last game at home against Calgary, I can't say that I was really looking at the fine details of McDavid. I felt he was pretty safe to make this team. And the other guys that, there's where they fit in our team. Yeah, we're watching them, and, you got to be careful how much you're watching them, and also you're coaching a game and you're trying to follow along with the shifts and who's up next and all that stuff. But we definitely have an eye on certain guys, and and obviously putting them in different situations.
So you look tonight, Hamblin, Peterson, Philp, Derek Ryan, all battling. Like, Derek Ryan's the incumbent. I think it's his job to lose, no question. I think someone's going to have to do something real special. Like Hamblin and Philp, kind of working against them, their contract status, and the fact that they can go down the minors without clearing waivers. I do think that's a factor. Philp obviously took a year off. Timing in the tight areas of the game might not be exactly where he wants, so I won't be surprised if he gets some time to start the season in the American League. But I'll be more surprised if we don't see Philp before Christmas than if we do see Philp. I'm expecting to see him back up here before Christmas. 2:56. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. When we return, it's Who Is It Wednesday, and we cover all the gamut in sports for occupations and whatever you can do, because you can be a player, you can be a coach, you can be a manager, you can be a broadcaster, you can be an athletic therapist, you can be equipment person. There's so many realms. We've done analytics. Today, we'll go behind the scenes a little bit, but also talk about what you see at the Olympics, Super Bowls, Grey Cups, Stanley Cups, and much, much more. That's coming up after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Kids Sports 6th Annual Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out. It goes Thursday, October 24th. If you love pizza, you want to help kids get in the game, it's a great combination. Get your tickets, JasonGregorPizzaPigout.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Edmonton Oilers back in action, heading to Winnipeg to take on the Jets just after 6 o'clock. Stuart Skinner will get the nod between the pipes in this one. Elsewhere, you got the Lightning, Panthers, Blues, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, and Blackhawks. Stars host the Wild, and the Kings taking on the Golden Knights. New York Rangers forward Artemi Panarin considered day-to-day, while defenseman Ryan Lindgren will miss some time after both suffered injuries in a preseason game last night against the Islanders. From the NFL, Denver Broncos linebacker Alex Singleton season is over. The former CFLer suffered a torn ACL in the team's 26-7 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The injury happened in the first quarter. Singleton remained in for the rest of the game, finishing with 10 tackles. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays hosting the Red Sox once again. First pitch just after 5 o'clock. Earlier today, it was the Mariners getting by the Astros 8-1. Later on, you got the Orioles, Yankees. Nationals host the Royals. The Rays take on the Tigers. Angels head to Chicago to battle the White Sox. Rockies up against the Cards. Giants in the desert taking on the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers hosting the Padres. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of Who Is It Wednesday. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Get ready, Edmonton. The country sensation, the Rec Laws, are coming to the Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd. It's your chance to see the award-winning duo that's taken the country scene by storm. From Long Live the Night to Feels Like That, the Rec Laws are bringing the party to you during Yeags Rodeo Week. Don't miss out. Pre-sale tickets available from now until September 16th at EdmontonExpoCenter.com. Public on sale begins September 19th at 10 a.m. The Rec Laws at Edmonton Expo Center Arena on October 3rd.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen. And buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
When you want to recognize the top performer on your team, come create memorable and customized trophies and awards with Elite Promotional Marketing. Elite's in-house design team will help you achieve your corporate award goals. Head to elitepromomarketing.com.
Hey, it's Kevin Carius. Looking for a truck? Looking for a deal? Then head over to St. Albert Dodge. Right now, save up to $20,000 on 2024 Ram 1500 DT model trucks, including the Sport, the Rebel, Laramie, and Limited Line. It's been a long time since we've seen anything like that. And if you need one more reason to buy, remember that the 2024 Ram 1500 models are the last year of production, featuring the legendary Hemi V8. Head up the trail to see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Of course, MLB stretch drive, the final week of the regular season. Of course, you have NFL Thursday tomorrow. Big weekend of games in the CFL coming up, including the Elks on the road in Winnipeg on Friday night. Huge game. Bethel Thompson will be getting the start for the green and gold. It's a bold decision, Cotton. See if it pays off. See if it pays off. Now, let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride at silentrides.ca. And we are joined, we always do it in Who Is It Wednesday, and fitting today, we always kind of like to go behind the scenes. Well, today we'll go behind the scenes. Someone in the media world, spent over 20 years, has been at multiple Olympics and Super Bowls, Stanley Cups, Grey Cups. I'm probably forgetting some other things that he'll fill us in on. Of course, David Parker. We just call him, we go by Parker. Connor texts me back. He goes, his last name is Parker. He thought his first name was Parker because everybody calls him Parks. Dave Parker joins us. Dave, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
How many people don't realize that your name isn't Parker?
It happens a lot. Yeah. Nobody calls me Dave except my mom.
Yeah, except your mom. So who is it Wednesday? And you've worked with guys. So was there, what else have you done as big events? What did I miss?
British Open, Masters, 2 Olympics. It's actually, I feel bad. It's hard to remember everything. I've been really lucky. I've been with TSN for 17 years. So anything that TSN covers, 3 World Series.
Have you been to an NBA final?
No, but I've been to the All-Star game a few times.
Okay.
So, which is pretty fun too. Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal in the NBA. Like their All-Star game is massive.
It's a good show. Yeah. NBA does a great job.
Okay. So let's kind of get into it because I always like to have different people on because there's lots of different ways to get involved in sports. And obviously, I think in your job, you're a cameraman. You got to be a sports fan. You kind of got to understand what you're watching. You can't just be like, I don't really like sports, and you just put the camera on. It doesn't really work. So let's go back to a young David Parker. What sports did you play growing up, and at what point did you all of a sudden think, hey, this is what I want to do?
Well, like every Alberta farm kid, I played hockey. Grew up in Onaway. Played hockey till I was 14. I also played baseball until I was 15. But I grew up right around, if anyone remembers the old Lake Eden ski hill. And so I was also an avid downhill skier. And a funny story, my dad could tell that hockey wasn't my biggest passion, but skiing was. So he said, let's stop driving all over Alberta and I'll just take you to learn how to ski. And so I started ski racing and doing stuff like that. So
you were a ski racer?
Briefly, I became an instructor. I was better at teaching it than I was at doing it. So skiing, hockey, and baseball.
Have you ever covered like a big ski race?
No, actually, that's on a bucket list. There used to be one of the first downhill races of the season in the World Cup was in Lake Louise. And I always wanted to go on that one, but so does everybody else. So I was way down on the list. So I've never been to that yet.
Well, you got to be getting near the top of the list now.
Well, production companies like to have their favorite guys, and I'm favorite guy on some shoots, but not on that one. They've got, it's obviously guys that have done it before that know what they're doing. They prefer to have that because they're experts. They can show up at the mountain and they just know what they're doing. So sometimes they, as good as I might be at my job, they want somebody that knows the ropes. So it's just easier for everyone.
So did you go to NAIT?
I did. I took radio and television arts, 89 to 91.
Okay.
And graduated in 91, and then did a practicum at CTV, CFRN back then. And got my first job was in Swift Current, Saskatchewan at CJFB.
Where you're shooting the Broncos games.
The Broncos, yeah. At that station, you shoot everything: commercials, in studio, everything, weather shots, Broncos highlights, everything. Worked there for 2.5 years, and then worked in Brandon for 6 months. Covered the Wheat Kings, and then moved here in 94, and I've been working in Edmonton since 94.
So 30 years here.
Yeah, I just had my 30th anniversary like a week ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So because when you start out with those small stations, you're shooting news, you're shooting sports, everything. Was sports always what you wanted to shoot?
Actually, no. I've always kind of been a news guy. Like I grew up, I was a bit of a nerd. I would watch 60 Minutes every Sunday. I like broadcasting. I like the news, and I liked sports, and I liked photography. And I think, I always liked doing it, but it wasn't a passion back then. I just liked to be doing news. So sports was always something I was interested in and liked to shoot just because it's more fun. I will say about my career that if I'm not a sports fan, I'm an event fan.
Okay.
And the biggest events generally are sporting events. So I like to be at things, and the sporting events that I go to now, certainly in my career, have been fantastic.
David Parker joins us, of course, 30 years just celebrated as a shooter in Edmonton. So you started CTV. When did you gravitate to being 100% sports?
In 2007, I had worked with Ryan Rashog. He worked at CFRN for a couple of years before he went to TSN. And so in 2007,
I remember him and Mudryk. They used to have like the battles to see who could wear the most makeup on camera.
Yeah, and the worst ties. So they needed a new cameraman for the TSN bureau in Edmonton. And Ryan talked to Don Metz, who was my boss for years, and said, why don't you talk to Dave Parker? He works at CTV. He'd be good for the job. So I had an interview with Don Metz, who owned Aquila Productions for years, was the flagship company that started TSN in 1984. He was the cameraman for the bureau in 1984 when TSN went on the air. And they always supplied a cameraman and equipment for the TSN bureau in every NHL city. So I got that job in 2007, and I've been doing it ever since.
So when you go to Nate, did you want to be a broadcaster? Did you always want to be a shooter?
I went in thinking I wanted to be a reporter.
Okay.
And I think I also was really into photography. So I think it just sort of happened. It fell into my lap once I started doing it and, got the cameras in my hand. I just had a natural passion for it. And I didn't lose interest in the reporting. I was just, I think, clearly better at that and more in tune for that. I just gravitated towards it.
So what skills make someone a good shooter in your eyes?
It's a good question. I think I've always said there's two kinds of cameramen. There's technical guys and then there's news guys. And I'm not a technical guy. There's lots of cameramen that love, they can talk about the pixels and the depth of field and things like that. And honestly, that's about all I can say about that. That's not my skill set, Jason.
Okay, yeah.
I'm more of a news guy. So I think understanding sound, what's a good interview, what's a good clip, what's a good angle, what's good lighting. Like, I want to know what it looks like. I want to know how it sounds because, like I said, I'm more on the journalistic side of it. Like, I want to tell the story. I don't want to just have a camera in my hand. I don't want to just take a picture. I don't want to just shoot a hockey practice. I want to tell the story. And I think that's helped me. But there's also plenty of really good technical guys that shoot production stuff, like people that shoot commercials and films. Their technical skills are way over mine, but that's perfect for what they do.
Yeah.
What I do, I think I'm skilled at it because I have a journalistic idea in my head.
Okay. David Parker joins us. We're talking from behind the scenes, of course, as being a shooter now for over 30 years in Edmonton. Been covering sports since 2007 exclusively. And so you get into it. It was interesting how you say, like, you're telling the story. So, you kind of work in tandem. You have a reporter. And I know you and Rashog work together a lot, but you obviously work with other guys, Farhan and Duthie and a lot of the other guys, depending on what you're covering. Because if it's outside of hockey, the CFL, it ain't Shogger. That's for sure. But that rapport, like, I know you and Rashog really juice each other a lot, but at the same time, there has to be like a respect where I know that, hey, if I send Dave to go shoot something and you and Rashog talk about, hey, I'm doing a story on Leon Draisaitl, for instance. You're not just going to show footage. You're going to look for something that's going to fit with the story he's trying to tell.
Absolutely. And that's what I think. If you talk to any reporter and you ask them what a skilled cameraman is, they know that. They're not just, like you said, anybody, generally, any camera operator can go stand on the bench and point the camera at Leon Draisaitl and say, I got vis of him. But watch for something he does. He makes a face about something. Maybe he doesn't like a pass. Maybe he's got a sore ankle or something. You're looking for things that can tell a story. And I think that's, I've been really lucky to work with Rashog because we're both on the same mindset that way. We want to tell stories. We're not just there to, wallpaper a piece about the hockey team.
Now, you shoot the stories. What about shooting games? Have you ever shot a game?
I shoot games for like U18s, some World Junior pre-tournament games. So I do it somewhat regularly, but not for the broadcasts usually, unless I've filled in on some reverse angle cameras, like some, lower tier, less important.
Because how much
stuff.
different is that than what you do?
It's completely different. Like what I do is I shoot the interviews before games. I shoot live hits and on location live hits, panels, the James Duthie, the Craig Buttons and stuff like that. And then I shoot all of the interviews and the stand-ups after. So when the game's happening, I'm really lucky. I usually just get to watch it. It doesn't matter whether it's the NHL or baseball, football, whatever it is. Quite often, I'm just watching the game, which is, obviously a huge perk.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And so, but have you talked to the camera guys? Like, were you ever offered or said, hey, do you want to be a shooter who's the guy who's showing the feed that people are watching on TV live?
I was never really that interested in that. I've never thought about why. Like I said, I think it's because of what my passion would be, is that I'd rather talk to people. I'd rather, it's interesting to me to be in the scrums and talk to Connor and talk to Leon, talk to, the baseball players, the golfers, wherever I'm at. The human part of the sport to me is more interesting than the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I'm more interested in the event and the phenomenon of what's happening rather than just the result, the power play, how many goals anyone got. It's like the whole event is interesting to me.
So let's kind of go back here. You started out in Swift Current, then you're in Brandon. How'd you get the jump from Brandon to come to Edmonton? Like, is it just you working your way up, you're applying for jobs, and then somebody finally hires you?
I applied for lots of jobs. We used to call them PO letters. When you send out
What's that, pissed off letter?
No, just piss off. Stop calling me. We're not going to hire you. So I applied at every TV station in Western Canada. My favorite one was in Kelowna. I applied to the TV station there, and I finally phoned the guy and I said, listen, I really like to work there. And he just flat out told me, I'm not hiring you. And, I'm crushed. Like, what do you mean? I'm trying to start my career. And he said, Dave, it's Kelowna. Everybody wants to work in Kelowna. I'm not hiring someone out of college. I'm going to hire, there's 50-year-old guys that are retired that want to work here. So I'm going to take them instead. But no, I did my practicum at CFRN, and the photo supervisor at the time was Rick Bremnes, who's still around, doesn't work for CFRN anymore, but he's still an avid cameraman. And I did my practicum under him. And after the 3 years in the small stations, I just kept applying and asking him for a job. And I started working here again in 94. And actually, my first job here was weekend sports. So all I shot on the weekend was sports. So Lisa Miller, Corey Elliott, those guys, Al Nagy, those guys, Brian Wild. So that's where I cut my teeth working with them. So we do, back then, weekend sports, we did a lot. We would go to Golden Bears, football, everything. Everything from go-kart races to, luge track, anything. So,
and I'm assuming, and in your role, like it would be as a reporter, or for me, like when I got in it, I was covering everything because I learned more, and I loved it. Like it was fun to be, doing play-by-play lacrosse still might be, the most fun I've had in my career. Covering the Elks early on, or the S back then, was great. The human side and meeting so many different personalities who came from such a vastly different background, in a lot of cases very different than my own. And so I loved it. And, doing the Huskies and the Wildcats and junior A hockey for years, it was great. Was it the same for you? Did you kind of like, how did that covering all the different sports, how did it make you a better shooter?
Well, I think, the skill set about, pointing the lens at something and turning it on and opening the iris and getting your focus, I think that comes. But I think the different sports, certainly, whether it was, Pandas volleyball to, St. Albert Saints games over at Aikinsdale Arena, like you get better. I think one of the skill sets in my job is that you can adjust, you can adapt, you walk into a situation and you figure out how to make it work, right? Like you get into an arena and, there's 500 grandmas and grandpas watching their kid play hockey, and you have to gently ask one of them to move over so you can get a shot of the ice, right? Stuff like that. Like I said earlier, generally speaking, any cameraman can walk into a building and point at the game. And but in order to be good at it, I think in order to bring something back that's good, you need to be able to create an environment where you can be successful. You can watch for the story. Maybe you notice that the 15-year-old kid that's on the AJHL team gets a hat trick. Well, that's the story, because that's interesting. Otherwise, maybe they won 8-7, but that's not really where the story is. It's that unique thing that happened inside the game that you want to tell people about.
So what type of feedback did you get early on, like when you would shoot? Do they come back and would they go over your tape and be like, okay, Parker, this, your angle's wrong here? Like, how do you learn? How do you get better? What's the criticism or the critiquing of your film work?
And I would say that I had unbelievable mentors when I worked at CFRN, some of the best photojournalists and reporters literally in Canada. And I don't think that's wrong at all. They, guys like Robin Cleater, Galen McDougall, John Hansen, Rick Bremnes, who I mentioned, they watched everything I did. And they would tell me, they wanted me to be successful as much as I wanted to be successful. So, it's, like any player would tell you their best coach, right? That's kind of what I had. I had lots of coaches. The reporters, like I mentioned, Lisa Miller was a great mentor of mine. Like, we would go to stuff, and if I didn't do it right, they let me know for sure. Like there was, they weren't polite about it. They let you know, like, it's not good enough, Dave. You have to be better. They cared as much about the production as anybody.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about that evolution. And then you get to the Olympics and Super Bowls and Grey Cups and Stanley Cups and the challenges of that. And you know what? You get into those massive scrums as camera guys, and there's a lot of jostling around. People probably don't see that behind the camera. I've always seen a few beauties. Can't remember what might have been at the Grey Cup one year. I thought two camera guys were going to throw down. I was dying. Like they were fired right up. So we'll get into all of that and more when we return. David Parker here on Who Is It Wednesday on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
New season, new start, new beginnings. Hockey is back at Rogers Place with the Battle of Alberta, WHL style.
Be at the Edmonton Oil Kings home opener this Saturday against arch rivals, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's family fun that's second to none, with thundersticks for every fan to make some noise. Plus, score kids' food combos for $10 or less.
And it's a special 2 p.m. puck drop.
Oil Kings home opener this Saturday afternoon.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
Danny's share, $28,874. Kevin's share, $5,663. Maven and Dave's share, $20,885. Don and Kathy's share, $5,121. Sean and Michelle's share, $4,400.
Each year, Vision Credit Union returns about 75% of our profits to our members. It's time you got your share. Find out how right now at whatsyourshare.ca. That's whatsyourshare.ca.
.323. I'm not sure if this is one of Rashog's brothers or not, but hey, Dave, does Rashog ever thank you for making him look better than he does in real life?
No, he should. I guess
he should. Hey, like unbelievable. What a guy.
I'm sure he will tomorrow.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, he'll thank you something. That's for sure. David Parker joins us in studio here on Who Is It Wednesday. Over 30 years in the media industry, been shooting sports specifically for the last 17 years. And I made a mistake. I keep saying Super Bowl, but it's 3 World Series you've been at. The Super Bowl is one of them on your bucket list.
That's the bucket list. Yeah. I'm on a short list for that one, I think.
Yeah. Now you've done Masters, which for golf people, like we had a few golf people text in. Are you kidding me? Like when you go to the Masters the first time as a shooter, like the great part is like you get access to the whole course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the first few days, because we fly in TSN because they're the host, one of the host broadcasters, the national for Canada, they're the national rights holders. when we go in on Sunday, and we set up. Sometimes we set up on the Sunday night because we have a studio.
Yep.
But we're on the course watching practice rounds like 7 a.m. Monday morning, and that first day was like jitters. Like, and there aren't. And I like golf, but I'm not a huge golf guy.
Okay.
But that's holy ground. That was unreal. And and it's hard to explain this, but it's because television cameras are unbelievable and they make it look beautiful. It's actually one of the only things I can say in person is better than on TV. It's to say it's immaculate, you have no idea. Like nothing is out of place. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like every grain of sand, every blade of grass, you can't find a weed, nothing. The trees are perfect, everything's perfect.
And then the British Open, how do they compare?
Well, I actually was lucky to go to St. Andrews. So that was that.
It's pretty close to the Masters, man.
Yeah, it's up there too. And I mean, that course is, it's a links course, so it's a little different. It's a little, just because of where it is beside the ocean, it's messy. But that was amazing too. And like just to see that and to be around the people, it's like I said earlier in the first segment, that I'm more impressed with the history of things and the storylines and the event than just being able to watch Tiger Woods. I mean, which was obviously a big part of that, but he didn't win that one. Who was it? Louis Oosthuizen won that one. So
Louis.
Yeah. Like I said, it's more interesting for me in my career to be at things and see how it works and the operation and just the glory of it, rather than, I don't find myself very often cheering for an athlete or a team.
So when you go to, a major in golf or the Stanley Cup final or, the World Series, like, this is everybody in the world or everybody in that sport. I shouldn't say everybody in the world, but everybody in that sport is definitely watching at that time. Like you're at the main events. It's a big deal. It's obviously an honor. You have to work your way up to get there. They don't just let Bob come in off the street second year. Hey, Parker, here you go. You're going to go to the World Series, right? Like it takes a lot of work to do it. How different is it shooting golf compared to baseball, compared to hockey?
Depends on the venue. Obviously, the venue makes it very different. There's certain rules that we have to follow. Like the Masters is really strict. No phones. Like you literally can't have your phone on the course once they're playing. Like you can't pull out your phone and take a picture or make a phone call. Like, so there's things that change that way. I mean, you walk.
So you can't, but fans are allowed, or not even fans allowed a phone?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, it's nerve-wracking because a couple of times.
Your boss is trying to get a hold of you, right?
Yeah, well, you go out on the course, and a couple of years ago, I forgot to leave it in the office, and I walked out on the course with it, and it's like you got to find a place in the trees and turn it off and hide it, because literally anybody, they'll take your credential away, they'll chase you off the course. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the rules now. There are certain times where you're allowed to bring a camera, like one of those old disposable things.
Okay,
but you're not allowed to take pictures. That's what's the beauty of being at that tournament. I was on 18 when Rory McIlroy holed out, whatever that was 3 years ago. And the best part of that for me was that there was nobody holding their phone up to take a video of it.
Totally
Everyone just watched it.
Yeah, they're actually experiencing the moment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so to your first question, like, if you go to the Stanley Cup final, the atmosphere is different. There's different rules. I have to check in all my microphones and transmitters to make sure that I'm not interfering with anything that's happening with the broadcast or the in-building. That's pretty standard at any major sports event. But I mean, different, like baseball, for example, they don't have a morning skate. So they'll have, they have a warm up, just a few hours before the game. So that's very different. Like, when you're covering hockey, you're there at 9:30. The game's over at 11 at night. So those are longer days. Baseball's different than that. CFL is the same way. Like, that just atmospheres are different. The games have different rules, but generally speaking, what I do is different. There's just different schedules and different venues.
If you look at all the events that you've covered in your career thus far, like which ones stand out and why? Like what was so memorable about it?
Well, I did the 2012 Olympics in London. And that's one of my favorite ones, just because, I mean, I was in London for a month, and I mean, you get to spend that much time in a, iconic city at an enormous event. There's like, whether it was, going for breakfast at a Starbucks, in Trafalgar Square, or, watching the Netherlands win field hockey gold. It was like, everything was special about that. right?
Okay.
The people I worked with were outstanding. Brent Wallace was the reporter then. I mean, there's tons of memories about that. I would say I've been lucky. I've been to 15 Stanley Cup finals, and some of those are, really special for different reasons. Like when Patrick Kane scored in 2010 and nobody really knew, and he just started skating away. Like I was underneath by the Zamboni doors waiting to go onto the ice once whoever won.
Yeah.
And we're watching it on TV. That's the other part, is like the end of the game, I'm busy getting my camera gear ready.
Right.
I never get to watch what is often the
Sometimes
best part
of the game. Yeah.
But I have great memories of Stanley Cups, but I think the Olympics is special just because it's a world event. It just feels like it's bigger. Honestly, it's hard to remember. There's a lot of, when you've been to as many like sort of big sporting events, I know that sounds vain and, but I realize I'm very lucky. I've been to enough stuff that it's hard to remember, but it's the people too. I think, I can't overstate that enough that, I'm lucky to work with Rashog. He's an excellent reporter and a good friend. So the things we go to are always interesting and fun because you're with great people. You mentioned the Duthys and the people I work with at TSN and Craig Button, Farhan, all of those guys, and all of the other cameramen. They're all, great at their job. And like any industry, like your industry or whatever, it's made by the people. You work with great people. It's excellent. Everything is great.
So who babysits who more between you and Rashog?
Me babysit him or him babysit me?
Yeah.
I would say that's 50-50. I think we split that up pretty good. I think I babysit him on the, what hotel are we at? How are we getting there and what time? But he's pretty good at babysitting me on little details of work, stuff like that. Like, let's not forget that, Leon's in the first group this morning, so we got to make sure we're there first because he always comes out early, something like that, right? So we split up the stuff. I could argue that my stuff's more important because otherwise we wouldn't actually show up at things on time or we'd be in the wrong hotel.
Yeah. Well, not knowing where you are is probably
it's a big deal. Yeah.
Who because we got a lot of text questions coming in at 833-401-1440. You mentioned, you work with lots of different people. Craig Button's a real fun personality guy to work with. And, Duthie's pretty comical, very self-deprecating at times. What about like the scrums? I was telling you about the time I saw two guys get into it. Like how competitive is it amongst shooters? Because I know reporters amongst each other, there can be some competition. It's respectful. How is it for shooters? How does that work?
It's pretty in the scrums you're talking about, and if people listening don't really know what that looks like, but they can imagine that there's Connor McDavid comes off the ice after Game 7, and there's 12 cameras that need to get a shot of him, and each one of those cameras has a reporter attached to it, and then there's writers and radio guys as well, and we all need to get close. So yeah, we get a little bit weird when we're jockeying for position, and whoever's first, and we keep our elbows up and we put our cameras by the door in the hallway before the end of the game to hold our spots so that we can be first.
So let's say you had your camera set up and someone came along and like moved your camera. Does that happen?
It's happened, but it doesn't happen twice. We let them know. There was even in the last playoff round, there was a cameraman from Florida. We were in Florida for, I think, Game 5. Game 6 was here. Game 5, and there was a local camera guy from one of the stations in Florida that came in, and just literally myself and a Sportsnet cameraman were standing in line, and we were first, and he just walked right in front of us and stood right in front of the door. And myself and the other cameraman looked at each other and we're like right away, like, hey, no, we're here first. Oh, I didn't realize there was a lineup. It's like, yeah, there's a lineup. Like, don't act like you're brand new. There's a lineup. So it happens that it's like any, I guess, walk of life. You need to protect what is important. So you get there early, you mark your spot, you tell people when they're doing it wrong. I've had, I guess it's sort of a morbid story to share, but when I was in LA when Kobe Bryant died, and I went to the memorial and spent 3 days covering that. And when the Lakers first had their first practice, that scrum was unbelievable because we were supposed to get LeBron and the coach, and there was probably 40 cameras. Wow. And all of them a reporter, and they literally put the coach up against the wall in the corner of the gymnasium. It was not well handled. And people were arguing with each other in the lineup before we even walked in. So I'm
because
sure
they're trying to say I should be here.
Well,
right? Are there peacocks at times?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like there's, the guy from a certain TV station that's got the rights to the Lakers thinks he should be first. And it's like, yeah, but you got here late. So sorry, I was here first. That's how it works. First come, first serve, right? It's like the buffet. I was in front first,
Okay.
I get the food first. And I had to tell somebody that they were in the wrong lineup there because they walked in the door and just stood right at the front. And it's like, no, back up. Like we all did our job. We got here on time. We're in our spot. And that scrum was ridiculous. I stood on a stool for 40 minutes and just tried to do my best to keep a shot. So yeah, that's what you have to do to get what TSN needs.
So now you say to try to get a shot because so obviously you can't really move around in that scrum, right? You kind of plant your place. So then are we talking 6 inches that moves around and try to change it? Or is it because sometimes I know the player or the coach who's being interviewed, they'll all of a sudden turn their head or something. And you could be straight on. Now the guy turns sideways and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you've probably had me grab your shoulder in scrums
that's why I stand at the front. So I'm rarely
so
there.
Some of the other reporters, like we're all set. We get in our spot and then, they're shifty feet. And I've had to grab Ryan's shoulder a couple of times and move him over because they just, they're moving in their shoes and they move over. So you have to push and we have to jostle with other cameramen once in a while to keep a shot. But that's my job, is to make sure I get a shot. There's, it's not, I can't tell TSN afterwards, like, hey, it was, Connor McDavid just scored the game-winning goal, but you didn't get a shot of it. Why? Like, that's the only thing you had to do today. So you can't screw that up. So yeah, sometimes I got to, kind of force my way to the front. And I've had to do that where you're the last guy in a scrum and there's, it happened to me one time in Boston, was 2011 when Vancouver played them in the Cup final. And, I was the last guy in a scrum but I had to get to the front and I just was a jerk, but like I got to get it. So I just squirmed my way until I had a shot and the reporter had a boom pole over everyone's head and we ended up getting it. But, I'm sure I walked out of there with a lot of local news guys in Boston hating me, but sorry, like I have to get this.
So sometimes then like there is I don't know how I would word this, job preservation kicks in.
And I should say, I'm a polite guy. Like, I didn't knock people over.
Sure.
But, I found
you
the
weren't
hole.
Costanza trying to get out of the burning house.
And maybe I portrayed that poorly. Like, people think, well, this guy's a jerk. He's just shoved people out of the way. It's like, no. I made sure that I got a shot because that's my job, right? Like, I kind of wiggled and squirmed and made sure I was in something and made sure I got a shot. So.
David Parker joins us, of course, 30 years as a cameraman since 2007, specifically with TSN, and at lots of the major sporting events in the world, from Olympics, majors in golf, World Series, Stanley Cups, Grey Cups, etc. When you go back and you look at a story that you've shot, and for some people, like they might see the story and it's on something, like, oh yeah, but what, from a camera perspective, do you ever look back and say, okay, now I really like what I did there? Do you have any of those? And what was it about the story or the shot that you felt made it successful?
I think I would have to think about that for a while to come up with a specific example. But I think what I could relate is that when we do, for Stanley Cups or the Masters or, boards of governors meetings in Florida, GM meetings, when the panel's there, James Duthie and Ferraro and those guys, when I set that stuff up, because that, that's like 9 minutes of Sports Center every night. So it's important. That has to look right. So, you get pretty amped up to do that stuff because lots of times you're by yourself. Maybe I have an audio engineer with me. But, I've got 6 lights. I'm on, it's 8:00 at night on some beach in Florida, which, sounds great, except, I got to make sure it works because it's, I can't call TSN at the end of the day and go, oh, by the way, that 7-minute hit with Duthie talking about what happened at the Board of Governors meetings. It just didn't work.
Off.
It didn't work. We don't have it. And the other thing that I've explained this to friends and family for years is that there's no tomorrow in my job, right? Like, this hit happens today. I can't do it again tomorrow. It's today only. At 6:00 when the news is over, I start fresh the next day. Everything, like any job, my wife works for a home builder. She can work on that project a little bit tomorrow. She can go and work on it at home at night. But what I have to do has to be on Sports Center at 6, and then at 7:00 it's over.
Now, did you go to Humboldt with Ryan?
I didn't go when the crash first happened. My coworker Ryan Vardy out of Calgary went, so he was the first one there with Ryan. Yeah, but I shot a bunch of stuff after, like the game and the other events that happened after.
Yeah, like you talked a lot about the human side of it. So even as a shooter at times, like, is there ever a time when you saw something you're like, you know what? I don't want people to see this. I'm not going to shoot it. Where's that moral line come in?
Yeah. When I worked for CFRN, shooting daily news for 14 years, well, 17 years if you include Swift Current and Brandon, you see lots of things that are awful. Not to make light of it, but I've seen dead bodies, mangled bodies in cars at wrecks and things like that, fires that you see it, you shoot it. I say this loosely, that sort of part of our job is to shoot everything and sort of let an editor decide what's appropriate. However, obviously I'm a human being and I have a family, and I'm conscientious. There's certain things that you just can't, you won't show because it's awful, and you make that decision in the field for sure. Like, I've got some morbid examples. I don't know if they're appropriate to share, but when I came across a motorcycle accident once when I worked at CTV, and the person
was dead,
and
mangled,
dismembered, and there's certain parts of
you're
that.
just not shooting.
No, and the police were there right away, and they came up and we talked, and like, listen, you see what's in this scene, like, you can't be here. And I'm like, obviously, yeah, this is, and you think about that as a human being, it's like, as much as, I said earlier, I'm a journalist and I'm beholden to telling stories, somebody at home doesn't need to see that when they know it's their child, right? Like, somebody's going to see that motorcycle and watch this on the news, and there's just certain things that you don't need to tell a story, that are just too bad, too awful to see.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Dave Parker joins us. Tiger's wondering, what do you see as the future of young shooters?
That's a good question. The industry's changed so much. Like, the newsrooms don't have as many cameramen. Lots of them are reporter cameramen.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for you who wanted to be a reporter, you're kind of like, well, this would be a little bit up my alley, but it's way harder to do both.
It is. And I think, I think it's hard to concentrate on both, because, I mean, you could be like, I could probably go out and shoot a story right now without a reporter, but I haven't written a story for 30 years. I don't know. I can't edit it myself. Like, there's a team of people that we use to do that. But there's lots of people that work at CTV and Global and CBC that do that all the time now. So the industry's changing, but one of the ways I explain it to people is that content is still needed, right? Yeah. Like, look, there's cameras in here. You know what I mean? Like, everything is on TV, everything's on a website, everything's on a podcast. So as much as there aren't as many guys coming out of radio and television arts at NAIT that are just becoming cameramen, there's lots of people that are coming out of NAIT in their digital program as well that are shooting content. So whether it's for your website, your podcast, whatever, I mean, anybody that goes to Rogers Place and looks at, the thousands of TVs that are on there, that's content. Somebody needs to create that. So, that's the more of the future in our industry.
And going back to, I'm assuming it would happen more in your younger years. Like, can you blatantly set up in a wrong spot for a camera guy? Like, you get the bad lighting and you're like, yeah, I got this. And then you go back to look at it, you're like, oh my God, this is like, I can't use it. That ever happen to you?
Yeah, it hasn't happened for a long time, thankfully. That's, like I was joking earlier, that's sort of part of, being a professional, is that I have to eliminate that. But I can tell you an example when I was at the World Championships in Russia in 2016, and we were getting ready to interview Austin Matthews. So there's me and another cameraman from Toronto, and we found a great hotel, had a great atrium, and it was beautiful. But I mean, we just were busy. We're running from game to game and doing interviews. We sort of didn't check the time of day, and sure enough, we're 8 minutes into this fancy sit down with Darren Dreger and doing Austin Matthews. It was the Dreger Cafe. I don't know if you ever saw any of those.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like the clouds cleared and it was hard sunlight right across his face and shadows from the roof. Like there was an atrium, and you're like, how did we not think of this? Like, stuff like that happens, right? Like, you're like,
so what do you do to fix it?
Well, you don't. Like, you're in the middle of an interview, right? I mean, there are some situations where I've actually started an interview and realized something wasn't right. And depending, you measure every situation, right? Like, hey, listen, my mic's not working, or the audio's no good, the cable's broken. So you can say, listen, this isn't working. We have the opportunity. I'm going to reset. We'll start again. Is that okay? But all of that gets gauged by the situation. Like, in that situation, the guy that was running USA Hockey was kind of nervous about Austin being there. It was the year before he got drafted. It was him and Line before they got drafted. Right. So they were all a little anxious, and it was like, we're not stopping. This is just going to look the way it looks. And actually, I will admit, the next year we were in Denmark, and similar thing happened with Connor McDavid, because he was coming out from the hotel. We set up along this beautiful little river in northern Denmark, and it was a perfect cloudy day, which actually for cameramen is great because the light is really soft.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like 4 minutes before he's coming out, the clouds clear and it's bright sun. And so half of his face is bright sunlight and the other half is, just kind of shadowy. In the big picture, we're supposed to be hard on ourselves because we're perfectionists, but most of the people watch that and will just go, that's an interview with Connor McDavid. That's all I care about is that he's,
they don't
it
even
was,
see that. Yeah.
What was that? 17. They didn't make the playoffs that year.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe it was 18. I forget what year it was, but people are interested in the content and the sound, and, we're harder on ourselves like any professional is, right? Like, if you're a drywaller, you can see the mistake, but nobody else will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
David Parker with us here on Sports 1440. It's Who Is It Wednesday. We'll come back, wrap things up, but we'll talk a little bit about the personalities that you deal with from a shooter's perspective next.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Go Mango, the Ocean's Tide, the Berry Bloom, the Raspberry Rapture, or the Strawberry Dip. Made with strawberries, chocolate almond beverage, bananas, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Sipping gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments flipping all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU.
Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
We continue on. Who Is It Wednesday? Our guest in studio, 33 years in the industry, was in news first, now went full-time to sports as a camera shooter, has done many huge events from the Olympics to World Series multiple times, Stanley Cup Finals. I think he's had 15 Stanley Cup Finals. Obviously, he's been at a few Grey Cups and the Masters, British Open, basically kind of the who's who, although no Super Bowls yet. Now, you haven't done an NBA final, but you've done the NBA All-Star
game a couple times.
Tell me about because the All-Star game in the NBA is like a big deal.
Well, and it was in New York. It was in Manhattan. So we were in Brooklyn and then Madison Square Garden. So like it doesn't get any better than that. If you haven't been to MSG, it's just being in downtown Manhattan is unbelievable anyway. But then walking into that building is pretty special, pretty iconic.
We got a few texts for you. Some from people you don't know, some from people you do know. First one comes in from Strudwick, who of course,
great.
You've shot him a few times.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I read this right. Ask Dave if he's ever figured out if Schauger has a good side to shoot. Like, is he better? Is it left side, right side? Because everybody thinks that, and some of us do have a better side profile one way or the other, or at least we think we look better one way or the other.
No, I don't. I think just straight on is fine.
Is best for him.
Yeah. I've been joking with him lately that he's at least he's getting some sun now because he golfs so much, so he's not quite as pasty as he used to be.
Yeah,
that was always a challenge when he was with other people, like on a panel, is that everyone else has a nice complexion, and he was kind of just white shirt, white skin.
Yeah. Do you work a little bit as the makeup artist at times?
Well,
for
I
those
don't
guys?
do the makeup myself, but I
you just tell
coach them that they need some. Like even today, the thing I shot with Ryan today, I actually, thanks for the reminder. I need to let him know he needs to powder his forehead a little bit. Yeah, it's bigger.
It is. Well, it's interesting that Struddy was saying about the two sides because you were saying during the break, like it's Got Your Back podcast, and it's kind of like your hair tying. Yeah, but maybe worry about the front for
work
those
on
two.
your front is
That should be their tagline.
We got your back.
Got your back,
work on the front.
Work on the front.
Or the top.
Oh,
yeah.
It is true. Now, you've worked with lots of different personalities. Who's the most laid back?
Oh, laid back. I think like the surprising to most people, I think might be like some of the biggest. I've said this for years. I remember the boss at TSN, one of the bosses, Ken Volden, asked me years ago. We were at the World Juniors in Saskatoon. How's it been? You've been with us for 3 years. And I told him I couldn't believe how all of these, prima donna, what I would have thought from the outside, all of this talent, Bob McKenzie, Darren Dreger, James Duthie, all of these guys, Ray Ferraro, they're unbelievable professionals. They're always early. They're on time. They're ready to go. That was really inspiring because I kind of expected, they'll be half an hour late or whatever because they're who they are. They can do whatever they want. They're legends. But it's the complete opposite. They're unbelievably professional and ready and helpful. They'll carry gear. They'll do whatever you want. But laid back, I think, lots of stories because I've been lucky to work with Darren Dreger and Rashog together a lot. Like we've done lots of cup finals. And like one year we drove between Detroit and Pittsburgh back and forth, I think 4 times, maybe 5 times. And that 6-hour car ride was crazy. Like it's like busting a gut laughing the whole way. Rashog pulled a prank on Dreger.
Oh, those two love to prank each other.
And he had him convinced, and he was getting people in Toronto to phone him and say, like, when Detroit wins, you got to stay for the parade, and maybe you can get on the float with Babcock. And like Dreger was squirming, like, are you kidding? I'm not covering a parade. Like I haven't, like when he worked in Brandon, he didn't go to the parade when the Wheat Kings won something like, and he would like.
So he had him on that for like hours.
Hours, yeah. Like, and
so does he let you in on this so you help it go, or are you kind of?
I was on that one. I got let in about halfway because he showed me his phone. I was driving because cameramen always drive. I'm always the driver, and they're the clowns. So yeah, but tons of fun. Like just as much as they're professionals, when it's fun time, they're the best, and when it's professional time, they're also the best.
So who's the best prankster?
I would say Rashog's the most prolific. Like
he likes to do a lot.
Yeah, and too far. I don't know. You've probably heard us talk about the mind game that we have. That I introduced them.
You can't say like if you can get the other person to say mine
in any way
they have to
at
do
any
10
place.
push-ups.
They have to do 10 push-ups. Right, exactly where they are. Like Dreger got me to do 10 push-ups once in security at the Winnipeg airport. Like I've had to do push-ups on the bus between venues of Stanley Cup games. Like ridiculous, embarrassing stuff. Rashog has got Duthie to do it in the press box in Pittsburgh a few times, like ridiculous things. So yeah, the pranks are nonstop. And I would argue, like I have to admit, I've been a little angry at Rashog on occasion because he'll make me do push-ups in the middle of a stressful workday. Like, dude, not now. Like, why right now? And that's obviously why it's even funnier.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, doesn't it break it up?
Well, yeah, I can because I'm good-natured, I guess.
But you have all your gear on when you do it?
Yeah, like we're in the middle of shooting something and we're late, or we're 4 minutes from live and audio's not working, and I'm in the zone, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, whose camera's that? Well, that's mine. Oh, you jerk. And then you got to do them right now.
You must have seen Ray lose his temper though a few times. Ray has one of the shorter fuses. It's awesome.
Ray's wonderful, and he lost his temper on me once. We were doing it was the Stanley Cup final in 2017. We were on the roof of Tootsie's. I don't know if you ever saw any of that stuff. Legendary Cup final, legendary location, one of the best shoots I've ever been on. And it was hot. It's like 40 degrees and the humidity is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And as a cameraman, it's my job to always try to make sure the shot's the best. So there's James Duffy, Ferraro, and then Bob. And it's 40 degrees. They're in suits on a patio, and we're surrounded by drunk people partying. Like, they didn't clear it. Like, we're like, James Duffy is 4 feet away from hammered girls on a girls trip, right?
Yeah.
So they're really uncomfortable about trying to get this done. But the camera's on, and I said, hey guys, there's a cloud. And I mentioned earlier, like when it's cloudy, the light looks way better. So, and it was bright sunny day. So there's a cloud coming. And I just loosely said to the producer and the gang, like, hey guys, can we just wait for this cloud? And Ray was like, he was having none of that. It's like, waiting for a cloud? We're not waiting for a cloud. And it's like, I get it. Like, I didn't want him to get mad at me, but I appreciate that he's sitting there, he's losing 5 pounds a minute sweating in the sun and wants to get the hell out of a bar where he's trying to do his job. But yeah, that's a fun story that him and I laugh about now.
So we've talked about the Super Bowl is one that you want to be at.
Yeah.
Like now you didn't shoot the 2010 Olympics in Canada?
No, because my son was going to be born the day I was supposed to leave.
Oh, well, there you
my
go.
My son that's sitting beside us right now. So I was scheduled.
Oh, that's pretty good trade-off.
It's a pretty good reason to not go.
Yeah.
I told them when months and months earlier in the summer, like, please, I want to go with Rashog. I knew Ryan was going. And then my wife actually said to me one day, she's like, when the due date is, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, isn't that when you're supposed to fly to Vancouver? I'm like, oh my God, how did I not put those two together? So I had to go to my boss in Toronto and Don Metz here in Edmonton, and like, I can't go to the Olympics. And they're like, that this is like the iconic Olympics. Like, yeah, but having a son is more important, or having a baby is a little more important. I can't tell my wife I'm not going to be there because I got to do a scrum with Crosby.
Yeah.
Or at least I wasn't good. I might do that now, but I'm not going to do that. I wasn't going to do that then.
Wasn't going to do it then, right?
No.
If it's a grandkid, maybe.
Yeah. That's different.
That one you might be able to get away with probably. So
yeah.
Anything else? Like, what about news? Like, would you ever want to get back into news?
I don't know. I think, the way my job works now, it's, I don't mind saying it's an excellent job and I'm really lucky. Like, I work with great people. I'm in a great city and a great sports market. I get to go all over the world to see things. So I'm not really looking to move back, but I guess if something happened, I'd think about it.
How many plaid shirts do you have that you wear on the road?
That's either from Dreger or Rashog. I've weaned out the plaid because I used to get chirped a lot. I don't know why they hate the plaid. I just buy
Isn't
shirts.
it hot?
Well, no, not like lumberjack, but like just anything, whether it was a summer shirt or a golf shirt. For whatever reason, apparently they thought I had lots of plaid when I think I just had shirts, and they just find anything to pick on me. I'm a bit of a whipping boy for those two, which is fine if it makes them feel better. And, they buy me a drink once in a while, so we're okay.
If you had to tell me your favorite Rashog on the road story.
Well, actually, I laughed about that today because he expected me to say this one in case you asked. But my favorite one that if I just wanted to chirp him, which I guess is what I should do, is that he has a problem with getting in the wrong car. And that sounds ridiculous. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I can see the look on your face. How do you get in the wrong car? So we're doing the 2010 World Juniors in Saskatoon. I'm in a gray Ford pickup, which is all they had available for whatever reason. Usually I'd be in a minivan or something. And we're parked on one side of the building. The mobile trucks and everything that we operate out of are on the other side of the building, outside. So we're done a game. We got to go to the mobile trucks to feed everything. And he's left feeding. And I say, okay, I'm gonna go to the truck. Meet me at the truck. And so
on the other side of the building.
on the complete other side of the building. So he walks out of the mobile trucks, sees a gray Ford, and just gets in and sits there. And then I haul my gear to the other side, get in my truck. And finally he phones me. He's like, what are you doing? Where are you? I'm like, I'm in the truck. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm in the truck. No, you're not, Ryan. I'm in the truck. And he looks around and he showed me the truck the next day. It's like a construction truck. Like there's papers and tools and everything. Completely obtuse. He got in some guy's pickup and
he was just sitting
sitting there looking at his phone.
Yeah, he's on his phone.
On his phone, because all the reporters are. And he did it again once at the airport in, I think it was Chicago. Like I rented a black SUV and I'm hauling gear and moving it. He just walked up to a black SUV and sat down. That could have been anybody's car. So he's done that. There's a third one. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, him in cars, not
good,
sharp.
eh?
No,
Not
but
that
it's,
good.
you know, then I guess I should compliment him that he's so in the zone about doing his job that he just,
But his job was over at this time.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, how do you get it? Like, how do you get in the,
and then
the wrong side of the
a
building?
construction truck.
It was full of junk. Like the first thing you should have done when you opened the door is went, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This isn't right.
Yeah.
And also that the audacity to argue with me. Like, I'm in the truck. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
Oh,
dude.
So he actually was trying to tell you as you're sitting in the truck
that I'm in the wrong truck. Yeah. I'm the guy that drives it and has the keys and parked it. But somehow he's right. Yeah.
What about those documentaries that we see lots that, you know, come out in sports now? Of course, the NHL just released theirs coming out. Well, they little teaser of it. You shot any of those? And if not, like, is that something, because you've always said you like the human element of it, is that something you'd want to be a part of?
Yeah, I would. If I mean, I've done some stuff like that. Not recently, years ago, like with CTV, we do some long format stuff, like bigger features and things like that during ratings. But TSN has specific guys that are that specialize in that. And like I said earlier, you know, that's not necessarily my thing. Like, we have production shooters that do all of the production shoots. Like when you're watching a hockey game, you see, you know, McDavid, you know, stop and spray the camera and stuff like that. There's guys that do that and just that. And that's their skill set. They know where to put the lights. They know what camera to use, what lens to use. And like I said, my skill set is news gathering. That's what I would describe myself as, a news gatherer. So I could do that long format stuff, probably, but I mean, it's not sort of in front of me right now to be doing any of that. So
Dave, thanks so much for coming in and giving us a little
welcome.
sneak peek for all the listeners. We got a lot of texts that really enjoyed the things they didn't know about the camera side of things. And good luck if you have to shoot, worry about the front guys coming up soon together.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Got your back.
Oh, God, that is
worry about the
awesome.
top.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
That's Dave Parker, now with TSN, of course. 30 years plus in news and sports shooting. A news gatherer, as he said. Let's get to the con man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They've teamed up with Sports Central. This is the last Saturday, coming up this Saturday. The goal was to get 1,000 bikes in September for kids that don't have any. You got a bike at home that needs some fixing up. You don't want to do it? Well, just donate it. Go to sports1440.ca. All the locations at at Fountain Tire and Sports Central. We're going to drop it off. We're at 868. So we need 132 to reach the goal this Saturday, 10 a.m. until 3.
The Sports 1440 update.
Game day, the Edmonton Oilers in action out in Winnipeg, taking on the Jets. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Stuart Center will get the start between the pipes. And other news from the NHL. Rangers forward Artemi Panarin is considered day-to-day, while defenseman Ryan Lindgren will some time after both suffered injuries in a preseason game against the Islanders. On the ice elsewhere, Kings taking on the Golden Knights. The Canucks host the Flames. Wild battle of the Stars. Red Wings head to Chicago. The Devils hosting the Capitals. Blues versus Blue Jackets, and the Lightning taking on the Panthers. From the NFL, linebacker Alex Singleton's season is done with the Denver Broncos. The former CFL standout suffered a torn ACL in the team's victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The injury suffered in the first quarter, but Singleton remained in for the rest of the game, finishing with 10 tackles. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays once again hosting the Boston Red Sox. First pitch just over an hour away. Earlier on today, it was the Mariners knocking off the Astros 8-1. Braves Mets has been postponed due to weather issues in Atlanta. They'll make that one up next week. Elsewhere, Twins, Marlins, you got the Angels taking on the White Sox. Yankees host the Orioles, Nationals, Royals, and the Brewers in Pittsburgh. WNBA playoffs rolling on tonight. Game 2 of the Sun and Fever series. About 5:30. Connecticut leading 1-0 in that one. And at 7:30, the Lynx will look to take a 2-0 series lead over the Mercury. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be asking 5 questions and we'll preview tonight's Oilers-Jets game with Jets radio analyst Mitchell Quinton. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Look online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Often when I meet people at a party or I'm hanging out at my favorite restaurants, I'll introduce myself and they'll say, "Oh, you're Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physio. What can I do about this sore knee? It's been bugging me for months." First, I was thinking, when I'm out like this, I should just tweet my location so people know where to come for a consultation. But then I thought, I'm spending all this money on advertising Leading Edge. Maybe you could come by one of our clinics. That's where we have the technology and really smart physiotherapists who can give you all the advice and treatment you need. Have your people call my people, leadingedgephysio.com.
Carve out for a cause at the 6th annual Jason Gregor Pizza Takeout presented by Swift. Thursday, October 24th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza while raising some dough for kids' sport. Vote for your favorite slice to crown the People's Choice Awards winners. Don't miss Edmonton's biggest pizza party with Gregor broadcasting live. Tickets are $60 or $200 for a group of 4. Adults only. Buy your tickets today. For more details, see jasongregorpizzapickout.com.
New season, new start, new beginnings. Hockey is back at Rogers Place with the Battle of Alberta, WHL style.
Be at the Edmonton Oil Kings home opener this Saturday against arch rivals, the Calgary Hitmen.
It's family fun that's second to none, with Thundersticks for every fan to make some noise. Plus, score kids' food combos for $10 or less.
And it's a special 2 p.m. puck drop.
Oil Kings home opener this Saturday afternoon.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, and I hope you, yes you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation. With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Like we always do with this.
a few people on the text line, Collins. Or is it that his computer maybe isn't working? Maybe check that out.
We should be good now.
Should be good now.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. It's fixed. Attaboy from Frithy and Pete. Not sure if they're related or not, but we'll see. Coming up after a little bit later on in the show, we are going to we'll hear more from Kris Knoblauch. Also, we'll get to Mitchell Clinton, the Jets hosting the Oilers tonight. And if you're going to watch that game online, of course, it's on Oilers Plus. The Jets have a very NHL heavy lineup tonight. Scheifele, Connor, Lowry, Nemestikov, Ehlers, go down, Velarde, pretty much all their defensemen. Hellebuck's not playing. Kaapo Kähkönen is. Kähkönen and Eric Comrie are battling to see who can be the backup for the Winnipeg Jets. And I honestly think the backup position in Winnipeg might be more important now than ever. I think Winnipeg is really going to monitor the amount of games that Hellebuck plays. Because if you look at the last few postseasons for him, it's not gone very well at all. And now he's a little bit older. And I just wonder if they look and say, you know what, maybe, we'll slide that down. He was one of only 3 goalies to start 60 games last year. Hellebuck, or Georgiev, and UC Saros. Right now, Skinner was 5th with 57 starts. But Stuart Skinner's a lot younger than those guys. And, when they were younger, they were starting 65 games. No problem. Now, the Oilers have, I think it's 13 sets of back-to-back. So right away, it's down to 69 games for Skinner because he ain't playing both in back-to-back. And then you're going to look at some other games like Stuart Skinner, to me, right around the 55 to 57 game mark. I think that's the wheelhouse for Stuart Skinner. So that means you're getting 25 to 27 starts from Calvin Pickard. I think that's the perfect number for them. But I look at Winnipeg, and now Winnipeg only has 6. They have the fewest. They have 6 sets of back-to-back games this year. So they're going to have to play their backup when it's not just on back-to-backs. And I think they might have to, even though Hellebuck's going to tell them they feel good, if you play that much, but then you get waxed in the first round of the playoffs, what's the point? Right? They had 113 points. Well, what if you make the playoffs with 102? But Hellebuck's rested a little bit more. Will it matter? I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered because Colorado was skating all over them. It wasn't just the goaltending. But it is something to watch for, and it just shows you the volatility of the NHL playoffs. That's what it shows. Right? Like if you look at Connor Hellebuck's numbers last year, he had an .870 save percentage in the playoffs and a 5.23 goals against average. .870 and 5.7 goals against. Like, that is ugly. Right? You're just not going to win. Right? The year before, .886 save percentage, 3.44 goals against average. They lost both series 4-1. I'm just saying. I wonder if the Jets will look at potentially going a different route when it comes to games played for Hellebuck. Now, that can't be the only one because if he plays 3 fewer games, he's going to be that much more rested. I don't think so, but we'll see. Now, we'll get back to Kris Knoblauch. And tonight, if you missed it, so I know that we know the players who are playing. We don't know 100% the lines. Keep in mind, Kris Knoblauch did tell me that he's going to move the lines around. Now, one line I know for sure that's going to start is Sam O'Reilly, the youngster, of course, first-round draft pick a few months ago for the Oilers. He's going to play with Janmark and Brown. Derek Ryan is going to play right wing with James Hamlin. I think Drake Caggiula is going to be the other winger on that line. So then that leaves the other forwards are Noah Philp, Seth Griffin, Savoy, Hoffman, Lane Peterson, and Arvidsson. Now, De Jong's also on the trip, I think, because they usually take an extra person. I'm not 100% sure if he's in or not. But if you have like Philp, Griffith, could you play Savoy there as guys who might be an AHL line? Very plausible. And then Hoffman plays with Peterson and Arvidsson. I could see it. Or you might put Peterson with Savoy, because you think they might be playing together in the American League and they're offensive guys. And then you play Philp with Griffith and Hoffman. So, those are some other options. But we know that Hamlin and Ryan are playing together to start, and O'Reilly's going to center Brown and Janmark. Got that for sure confirmation from Knoblauch earlier today. Kulak and Emberson play together, Deneen and Max Wayner, and then, of course, Carrick and Hoffenmeyer. Stu Skinner, as we mentioned, is going to get the starting goal tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. So Peterson, Philp, and Hamlin are all playing center. They're all battling to see if maybe they can beat out Derek Ryan, who's, funny enough, playing the right wing tonight. So I asked Knoblauch just about that head-to-head competition tonight, and it's an opportunity. The players all know who's in the competition, but now they're teammates, but they kind of get that internal competition in a preseason game.
I think so. I know Winnipeg has a pretty good lineup playing at home as expected. I think it'll be a good opportunity for all those guys. We feel all four of them can be NHL centermen, whether it's this year or possibly next season. It's a good test for all of them. So we'll see exactly how they play. They're going to have some shifts against weaker competition. They'll probably have a lot of shifts against difficult competition. A lot of Scheifele out there, Lowry. Those aren't easy shifts against the centerman, and they'll be a test for most of the night.
So good opportunity to see what separates. Now, after tonight, the Oilers have 4 preseason games left. And Kris Knoblauch did say that in those final 4 games, you're likely going to see the line combinations in the top 3 that he thinks you'll start the season with. Nugent, Hopkins, McDavid, Draisaitl, Skinner, Arvidsson. They'll play together. And considering the number that Knoblauch has mentioned, 4, that would lead me to believe that the McDavid and Draisaitl lines are going to play 3 games together. Now, which 3? I think they're both going to play the final 2 games on the road because they have a team building road trip, right? They're going to do some team building stuff between Seattle and Vancouver. They have home games this Saturday and Monday. Now, maybe you play them both in the same game because you want to work on the power play. It makes sense. So we'll see what happens. They play Saturday at home, then Monday at home, then they're on the road. They play Seattle twice, Vancouver twice after facing the Jets tonight. So that's what your lineup's going to look like for the Edmonton Oilers. Stuart Skinner is going to play at least half the game, maybe up to upwards of 40. He's not going to play more than 2 periods for sure, according to Knoblauch tonight. So a lot of it will depend, does he get out right at 30 minutes? Depend on shots, flow of the game, scoring chances, etc., if they feel like he got a decent enough test. Because he said he doesn't want to commit to saying, okay, he's only playing 30, because what if he has 5 shots after 30 minutes? Hasn't gotten a lot of work in. I don't think he'll get that. I think he'll have more based on the Jets lineup tonight. As mentioned, he got Velarde and Scheifele and Connor as a line, Ehlers and Nemestikov with the youngster Lambert. Then they got Lowry and Niederreiter, as well as Anderson Dolan. Then Kupari, Ford, and Gustafsson is their 4th line. So that's what I think I'm counting. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's at least 9 forwards that are on their NHL roster for sure. Maybe 10. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about the Jets. After 2 disappointing first-round exits in the playoffs, not a huge offseason other than their coach. What's going to be different about the Jets this year? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the strawberry dip, the berry bloom, the go mango, the raspberry rapture, or the ocean's tide. Made with blueberries, passion fruit, guava, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these fine folks from the swift completion of their appointed work, or something like that. They're the fine folks at GS Construction, and they do like to do their job, which could be infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and dedicated maintenance and emergency repairs. Interested in working for such a fine outfit? GS Construction is always on the lookout for great workers. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen and buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See the in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Worried about your debt but don't know how to deal with it? My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day, and I understand how stressful your situation can be. During a free consultation, I can show you how to lower your payments and become debt-free. I can offer you immediate relief from that overwhelming stress. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And now the value is better than ever. Don't miss your chance to pay what Ford employees pay. During the factory-authorized employee pricing event, you'll see real invoice pricing on all vehicles, like savings up to $16,000 on Super Duty models. It's Ford employee pricing, but only until September 30th, where cars always cost less. Denham Ford, in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Or 21, welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, have loads of fun at PlayAlberta.ca, including, of course, NHL regular season action, but you got CFL and NFL this weekend. Also tonight, Lotto 649-24. $1 million up for grabs. Also, nobody won last night, so the Lotto Max is now up to 32 mil. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And get your day going. They have the 3 new breakfast wraps for you to choose: the sausage, bacon, and egg, the chicken breakfast wrap, and the spicy egg and hash brown breakfast wrap. Ooh, spicy. Try it right now, only at McDonald's, as the Edmonton Oilers are into Winnipeg tonight to take on the Jets. It is the fourth preseason game for the Edmonton Oilers, halfway there after tonight. God help us. Only 4 more to go. Hopefully there won't be 8 starting in 2026. That would be great. Mitchell Clinton, who is an analyst for the Winnipeg Jets, joins us. And Mitchell, the Jets have a very heavy NHL roster tonight for their home crowd. I was looking at, I'm counting like 9 or 10 forwards that are probably going to be on that roster, and maybe all 6 defensemen, if indeed Stanley and Miller are going to play. So what do you make of this Jets team? Not a lot of offseason changes other than the coaching staff and just, appointing a new head coach who is familiar to the team. How do you see this change going?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. Whenever I talk to people throughout the off season in the summer, even with the limited amount of change that there was, I still say that the Winnipeg Jets are going to look different than last year. And maybe that means, some players getting some opportunities further up in the lineup than maybe they did in previous years. I mean, anytime you lose a defenseman like Brendan Dillon, who you can put in that 3-4 pair that, really tough to play against, can kill penalties for you. Obviously, that's going to be a hole that's going to need to be filled. And, looking at the lineup tonight, kind of watching training camp, it's going to be someone like Dylan Sandberg, who, Winnipeg's had in the organization for a number of years since drafting him. But really, it's been over the last couple of years that he's kind of broken into the NHL as a regular. And now he's going to have to try to make that next step. So it's kind of like that throughout the lineup. Of course, you still have your Constants and Kyle Connor, your Mark Scheifele's, Nikolai Ehlers. They're all still in the lineup and getting their first kind of preseason action tonight. So that would be why they're all veteran heavy. Winnipeg had a kind of an odd schedule to start the preseason, playing on day 3 and then having a back-to-back where you're playing at home against Minnesota and then into Edmonton on Sunday, as you all know. And so because of that, they kind of kept a number of young guys in the lineup, but had the opportunity to watch a bunch of junior guys that, were freshly drafted and give them some experience. So in short, as I've gone on for a minute here, I'll say Winnipeg will still, have the same mentality of wanting to contend. Maybe they look a little bit different doing that, but could be a team, because they're young guys, that might get some looks. They'll adjust throughout the year, and then possibly could be one of those squads that gets stronger and stronger as the season goes on.
The Jets last season, best defensive team in the league, and everything fell apart in the playoffs. They, Colorado just skated by them. Hellebuyck did not have the series that he would have wanted. And, if you just look at numbers, the last 2 playoffs haven't gone well for him. Has there been conversations? Are they at all? He was one of only 3 goalies to play 60-plus games. Are they looking at reducing his regular season workload this year?
It's kind of always the conversation in training camp, especially at the start of the season, that, maybe they want to be able to get him down maybe into that 55 to 60. That's always the number that seems to pop up. It's always kind of an ongoing conversation between the head coach last 2 years, obviously was Rick Bowness. This year will be Scott Arniel, and goaltending coach Wade Flaherty. And Wade Flaherty has a really good relationship seemingly with pretty much every goaltender that comes through here, and especially Connor Halley. And the two of them really talk a lot about rhythm. They like to get Hellebuyck into a certain place, especially, if the season goes that Winnipeg wants it to, especially as they get to the playoffs. Now, yeah, certainly the thought with the workload on Hellebuyck was maybe the games would be a little bit easier on him if Winnipeg was better defensively, which last year they certainly were, winning the Jennings Trophy. But then, yeah, you got into the playoffs, and I don't know so much if it was a fatigue thing for Connor Hellebuyck as much as it was things, just didn't look the same in front of them in terms of how Winnipeg defended. They gave up an awful lot more than what they normally do. Part of that was, especially in games 3 and 4 against Colorado, they really couldn't stay out of the box. So it seemed like every time that they would get a microcosm of momentum, kind of turn the game back in their favor, whether it was tying the game or taking a lead, they would take a penalty. And last year, what really killed Winnipeg was special teams. They were bottom 3rd in the league in both of those categories, and inexplicably so, just because, you look at the names on your power play unit, and you figure that that's going to be one that's going to contend or at least be in the top 10 of the National Hockey League. And on the penalty kill, they were top 10 the year before, and then for whatever reason just weren't able to get back to that level last year. So both of those are getting changed over this year under kind of new coaching staffs and a couple new systems in place. But ultimately, I think for Connor Halley, it always comes down to that 55 to 60 number seems to be the one they want to get him to, because they do care and appreciate so much about his rhythm and how he feels going into the postseason. Should Winnipeg, of course, get themselves into the spot they want to be.
You look at the division, and Colorado's somewhat of a wild card because we don't know about the health of Landeskog and Nichushkin, and that if they're healthy, that makes them a pretty dominant team. If they're not, then there's questions. Dallas, I think, is pretty solid top to bottom. Nashville made a lot of additions. I'm not necessarily as sold as some people are that they're going to skyrocket everywhere. We'll see. I'm curious who's going to be their centers, but like the Jets, I think it's going to be hard, to replicate 113 points. That's just difficult for any team to do. But like, where do you see this team, and if there's an area of concern entering the season, what, if there is one, is it?
I'll touch on special teams just because it was a factor a lot throughout the year last season. So until you kind of see improvement in that regard, that's going to be a focal point for a lot of fans. I think the back end is somewhere where Winnipeg, maybe is going to be a little bit, I don't want to say exposed, but that's certainly going to be an area I think that other teams are going to look at. I mean, you look at tonight, like you kind of mentioned right off the top, you look at that 5-6 pairing of Logan Stanley and Colin Miller. Maybe that's your duo going into the season. But, those are two guys that really don't have a whole lot of time together. Logan Stanley's last couple of years have been, 2 years ago, he missed a big chunk of time with 2 long-term injuries. Colin Miller really down the stretch only played 4 or 5 games for the Winnipeg Jets last year. So there's a whole lot of question marks on, how those two will work together. Of course, Ville Heinola was probably a defenseman that was looking to get the opportunity, coming out of training camp this year, but they're worried about an infection in that ankle that he had surgery on last year. So now he's kind of out indefinitely. They're going to look at kind of revisit it in about three or 4 more days, see where that's at. So the blue line, once you get kind of past Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello, it's like a tremendous duo, of course. Maybe there's some question marks there. Neil Pionka, I think, is kind of poised to have a bounce back season. Last year did not go the way that he would have liked, on the ice for sure, but off the ice as well was really, really close with Adam Johnson, the player who was, unfortunately, passed away last year, very close friend of his. So I can't imagine the game of hockey was very easy for him last year, regardless of, what he tried to do. So I think he's poised for a bounce back year this year. So yeah, like I think if anywhere it's going to be the back end, maybe your depth guys on the fourth line. I think there's a lot of battle going on there, but that's probably the 2 areas that I would look at.
What about Cole Perfetti? He just signed. Now I know I read today, I think it was actually you reported that he's going to play on Friday. What's kind of the expectation? Where do you see him? Like, where's the best line mates for him?
Top 6 is where I think he belongs, and that's where Scott Arniel also believes he belongs. So the two kind of had some conversations throughout training camp about it. Now there's some talk about whether that should be on the wing or if that should be center. And I thought it was really apt the way that Scott Arniel put it. He goes, when you're the center, more often than not, you're kind of that low forward in the defensive zone. And, your job is to kind of be, your last forward out there, join the rush, and you're going 200 feet constantly. Whereas what he likes about Cole Perfetti on the wings, the first thing that's going to jump into your head is, well, can he win those board battles? And Scott Arniel said, I saw enough last year that says he can win those board battles. But what he really likes about Perfetti on the wing is that he can get the puck in his hands, coming through the neutral zone. He can be creative there, and he can get it into some space. So that's where I imagine he'll end up. We're going to see what Brad Lambert can do tonight. This will be his, second preseason game. He got into an NHL game last year. That's someone that the fans are really excited about. But I would be, I believe that top 6 is where Cole Perfetti is meant to be on this team.
Who do you envision as the second line center?
Based on kind of what I've seen, I'm going to guess it's going to be Vlad Nemestikov, at least to start, and they'll see where it goes from there. The only thing Nemestikov's your prototypical, you can put him anywhere and he can do whatever you need. Thing with Nemestikov, maybe he doesn't win as many draws as he would like for a second line center. More often last year, he kind of hovered between 35 and 40% in the faceoff dot. I don't know if it's necessarily his natural position. They've got him on the wing tonight with Brad Lambert in the middle and Nikolai Ehlers on the right side.
I saw that.
That'll be a dynamic little trio to watch. I'm sure that's a whole lot of speed between Lambert and Ehlers. So I think it'll be Nemestikov to start just because he can be trusted in the defensive zone, especially with, no matter what wingers he has. And that's kind of where I think it'll start. And then we'll see, because one of my favorite things about the NHL, nothing's permanent. So we'll see what happens as the year goes.
So safe to say, though, that that's an area where they're hoping somebody steps up and emerges, Now, Cole Perfetti, you just outlined why they think he might be better as a winger. So then Nemestikov would just play wing with Ehlers and Perfetti?
Highly likely. That's where I kind of think it's going to go. That was a trio that was together last year for a stretch of time.
Okay. So, yeah, that makes sense. Talking about the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Edmonton Oilers tonight, Mitchell Clinton joins us, analyst for the Jets on Jets Radio. The Oilers, their competition, they don't have a ton, to be honest. There's a little bit on the right side defense, and then the fourth line is going to be moved around. Is Corey Perry going to make it? Derek Ryan going to make it? They have all those guys. Typical preseason game. It's like Edmonton is bringing some NHL guys, but Arvidsson's really their only top six forward in the lineup tonight. What do you make of the extended preseason? Do you think it should be reduced?
I always say, I get into summer and, once summer starts to wind down, I get really excited for the first preseason game. And then halfway through, I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the season to start. So we're definitely hitting that point. I guess I would say I've been lucky in Winnipeg the last couple of years. Winnipeg's really only played 6.
Yeah.
So, but I know that out west, with split squads and everything that, Edmonton and Calgary have going on, you're coming up on 8. And I think I just think that's a lot.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a young player, you love it because there's the opportunity. But if you're a vet, you've been skating in informal skates, and now you have a bunch of these preseason games as well. And, I mentioned Billy Heinola earlier. Rick Bowness had kind of mentioned that Heinola had pretty much made the team by the time that last preseason game rolled around. And, Winnipeg kind of rolled out pretty close to their lineup, and Billy Heinola was in it and broke his ankle in the first period, and that was it, right? He didn't play again until January. So that's always a risk in every game, but I just think the more of those that you have, the more that risk goes up, right? So, and I understand how it is from a business standpoint and everything for preseason as well, but I just think there's probably a happy medium somewhere that's before 8 for these teams to play.
Yeah, totally agree. Thanks, Mitchell. Enjoy the game tonight, my man.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And our timing's perfect because
Yes.
the band is starting to warm up in here.
We can hear it, so it's perfect timing. There you go. That's Mitchell Clinton joining us from Winnipeg. Geez, for a sec there, I thought it was Struddy just coming in. There's junior high band days coming out. 4:37. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation YouTube. A few texts coming in on lines. As I said, we don't know the lines, but Knoblauch said if you're watching the game tonight, the lines are going to change a lot. Sam O'Reilly is starting with Janmark and Brown. We know that Hamlin and Derek Ryan are starting together, probably with Jake Kajula, but that's not 100% certain. And then the other forwards, we do know that Peterson and Philp are 2 centers. I would guess Arvidsson's going to start with Lane Peterson. He's a little bit more of an offensive player. Then you could either have Matt Savoy or Hoffman on that wing. And then who's ever not on that wing will play with Griffith and Philp. That would be my guess. So I could see Savoy playing with Philp and Griffith because that might be an American League line to start the season. Very plausible. So you can look for that tonight. Kulak and Emberson will play on defense, and Stu Skinner will get the start and goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Stuart Skinner actually asked for this game, and I can see why. He wants to get some NHL shots. The Jets have most of their top 6 forwards playing. The only one who isn't is Cole Perfetti. He just signed his contract. He's only been in camp a few days. But the rest are all in. Connor, Velarde, Scheifele, Ehlers, Nemestikov, Lowry's playing. They got a lot. Kupari. They got a lot of NHLers playing. So, and their defense. So Stuart Skinner, he should get tested tonight. And regardless, it's not about, goals. Of course, no goalie wants to let goals in. I get it. But it's just about getting the field, getting back in. You're going side to side. Maybe the Jets will get a power play or 2, and you'll see a legit NHL power play. So those are good things for a goalie. I know some people get caught up in the result. You might be disappointed. I think it's more about just the process through the preseason for the orders. We'll come back on the Gregor Show with 5 questions. Take your thoughts as well. Got a lot of text message questions in 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our email inbox.
You'll hear it around town. It's GMC's Canada-wide clearance. But at Wolf GMC Buick, we're putting our own spin on it. Not only do we have over 200 GMCs available, we also want you to upgrade your ride with 0% financing up to 72 months on the 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation. Oh, and how about at least $10,000 cash back in your pocket on in-stock heavy-duty trucks? Yep, it's Canada-wide clearance, and you'll only get these deals at Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road, just seconds from the Anthony Hyundai.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen. And buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
$448.2, Gregor, Halley, Declan Kruger along for the afternoon with you. Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Also, we have Kate running the show, keeping Connor and Declan in line. It's nice. Real nice. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. If there's anything Canadians love more than hockey, it's a great deal. You can find great deals at The Brick right now. 40% off mattresses. Save over $550 on sectionals and more at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. With Coach Knoblauch and his staff having this whole offseason and training camp at their disposal this year, what, if any, changes do you think we'll see with this team as the season gets going?
I'm not really sure you should have any major ones. Why would you? The orders, since Knoblauch took over, right, their top 3 in so many categories: special teams, power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5 scoring, goals against. Like, now they got some new players, so that to me is more of the challenge. But I don't see any reason to have a significant change to what they're doing now. You know, they're going to obviously always look to, you know, add a few small wrinkles, but I think they're going to still be a puck possession team. I think they're still going to want to attack. Like, I don't see them having a different neutral zone attack. They weren't getting exposed there, right? Like they limited their chances off the rush, which is what they wanted. So I'll have to see it, but I don't know if I'll see any major change. Like, we'll get to know more, you know, in the final week of practice before the season starts, when you get down to just the NHL guys. Normally you can see a few things, but probably even then it's more so going to be the final 2 preseason games where it's majority NHL rosters. But I don't see a reason to have any sort of significant change, because it wasn't like they lost due to one clear weakness.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I guess I'm intrigued to see how they handle the personnel defensively when it comes to this season, but what changes? Hopefully not too many, because like you said, they were strong on so many fronts last season, so close. I really don't think there's too much you really need to change here. But it's kind of what they implemented throughout the season last year. Question number 2 for you. The Oilers are out in Winnipeg tonight. When it comes to the power rankings of cities you want to see a game in, NHL edition, where does Winnipeg rank?
Now, if it's a playoff game, it's very different. Regular season game, I like where the building is. Actually, it's right downtown. And honestly, like, it kind of looks like a brick building on the outside. It's kind of unique compared to a lot of the different arenas. So I actually quite like that. But I know usually, you know what, it's going to be a good atmosphere, but it wouldn't be in my top 10 in the regular season. In the playoffs, though, for sure, it would be a place you'd want to go, because, man, it is loud. They go crazy. It's nuts. I think it would be a great atmosphere in the playoffs.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like, if we're talking regular season, it could be bottom 3. Like, it's not a place I would want to go to. I don't mean this as a slight towards the city of Winnipeg or anything like that, but I just think there's so many other markets you'd want to go to. Playoff season, things get flipped around. It would be an amazing spot to go see a game. But yeah, I'm having it probably bottom 3, and I don't. It might be the last one. Honestly, that, like, Columbus has the cannon that makes me want to go see a game there a little bit more. So it might be 32. Question number 3 for you. Seems like we have a bit of the standstill out in Boston with the Bruins and goaltender Jeremy Swayman. Which side do you think, if any, needs to do a little bit of a sacrifice to make sure they get this deal done sooner than later?
Well, it's going to have to be both. Art of the negotiation right here. You know, people would say, well, Boston lost their leverage when they traded Ullmark. There's probably some truth to that. Swayman, I get that he wants to ask for big money. He just doesn't have the pedigree of, like, people are saying, well, he's not that much worse than Shesterkin. Well, Shesterkin's proven it for way more years. That's just the difference. So at the end, what does he come in at? 9, 8.5? I'd probably think so.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, I think of the team. Like, they got to get their guy in there, pay the goaltender. You need him. I'd love to say both as well, but if I have to pick one, I'm going to go goaltender. The team needs him. They got to get him out there sooner than later and get this done, and, you know, make it not a distraction. So I'll say this: the Bruins, pay the man, get this guy paid. Question number 4 for you. We're talking NIL and the NCAA. UNLV starting quarterback Matthew Lucas said he will not play in any more games with the undefeated Rebels, citing certain representations and not being upheld by the program. Luka announced his decision on social media late last night and added that he will use his red shirt this year. So you can use your red shirt if you've played less than 4 games. He's played 3. Are you on the side of the player here, or do you think he owes it to his teammates and the program to stick it out and maybe worry about nil later?
Well, here's what's interesting. I saw the report. Now, the school report is saying that he had asked for some things that counter to what the NCAA agreement is as far as asking for money. So this is a he said type of deal. I don't know enough about either side to know which one I'm siding on. I've always thought it was somewhat of a joke in how NCAA for years, and now, hey, the players are getting money, then let them have their money. He's going to redshirt, and I guess he's going to transfer. We see that all the time. And to me, it will fall back on me. I think there's going to be some kids, they make good money in college, and that's awesome. And if their goal is to just be to college, then that's fantastic. Because outside of what some people think, I don't think every NCAA Division I player's goal is playing the NFL. Honestly, I don't believe that. Some of them, have other aspirations. They're good at football. They might not be NFL good at football, but they're really good at the college level. So if you're not, then your aspirations is, if I want to try to make as much money as I can, I don't care if I redshirt for another year and I still play my 4 or 5 years. So I'm guessing maybe that's a strategy, but we'll see if it pays off. But it was funny because I saw some people already at the school saying, wow, we're not really going to miss him. We got a backup quarterback. We got elite receivers. We got elite running backs. And there might be truth to that. There very much could be some truth to that. So we'll see what happens. If the team plays well without him, does that lower his nil revenue capabilities? I don't know enough to say for sure, but I wonder if it would.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing, take this for what it's worth. Per his agent, he left over an unfulfilled $100,000 offer. And yeah, that's
but $100,000 from who? Like, I don't get it.
Well, that's it, right? 3-0 team. Yeah, if they win, maybe it downgrades what he did. If they lose, this guy enters the transfer portal, and who knows? Maybe he can make some more cash elsewhere. Kind of an interesting loophole, right? You have a great success, and then you pull the plug, and now you redshirt. It's kind of an interesting one. I'm intrigued to see how it plays out, but I guess I'll just stick with what I did before. I'll side with the player and say pay the man. Final question for you here. This could almost be a tell me I'm wrong type segment, but with Ashley being pregnant, we've got a chance to go to a few more appointments, Gregor, here and there. And I will say waiting room etiquette is something that I think is a bit of a hot spot. There are people, on their phones, not using headphones, watching clips. There were people texting, but left the clicking on when you text, like the sound, things of that nature. So I want to ask you, when you go to a waiting room, you're sitting there, whatever it might be, a doctor's appointment, maybe you're at the mechanic or whatever it is there any rules that you follow?
No, I would never. People should be fined for talking on their speakerphone when you're in the room with other. No one cares. Okay, it's the worst. I hate it. Heck, I don't even like when people are walking on the pass and they're holding their phone and they're talking to it on speaker, right? Because they want to be walking. Just hold it up to your ear. I don't care enough about your conversation. You're not that important. But definitely inside a waiting room. No question. I didn't even know. I'm trying to think, do I ever have the sound on my phone when I text? I don't think so. Do you have to do that? Like, I don't ever hear noise when I text. But, my phone is very rarely on ringer. So it's on ringer usually when I get home and I put my phone in my bunk because I don't want it on. Then I'll put it on ringer. But every other time I have it off of ringer because I'll forget and then it would ring when the show's on, which has happened a few times over the years. So that's why I try to keep it on vibrate as much as I can. But yeah, that would annoy me. But yeah, like watching a video with sound on and you don't have earplugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to me, and I believe if it's my business, I would put up a sign right in my business because sadly there's selfish people or even some people that are just too ignorant and lacking in social etiquette norms to understand what they shouldn't do in a waiting room. So, but you know what? Make it simple. Put it on there. No audio on your phone so anybody can hear. No talking on your speakerphone. And if you do talk on your phone, why can't you leave the waiting room and go outside?
You're right. I'm with you on all these. Like, I probably go too far. I barely even talk in the waiting room. If I'm sitting there with Ashley, we kind of just whisper to each other, but we keep it to a minimum. We're just trying to be quiet, get in, get out, do our thing. I will say this. There was actually someone on the escalator today. I was taking a walk in the mall just before the show. I was on the 2 steps behind him on the escalator, kind of got forced in there on the phone speaker. I listened to the whole conversation for the 12 seconds we rode down the escalator. I could have jumped in on it. I don't get why people do that
Honestly,
either.
You know what? I think we should all do that. We should all start jumping. No, I disagree, Sally. I don't. And the person looks at you. Well, you got it on speaker. It's basically you're telling me I'm involved in the conversation. I think more people should do that. I think we should start a trend. If somebody's walking around on their speakerphone, interject into the conversation. Nah, I don't agree. That would be awesome. I think I'm going to do that the next time.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, wait. You don't want me involved in your conversation? Then why are you allowing me to hear your conversation? That's a classic Seinfeld. Oh, you don't like it when strange people call you back at home? Neither do I. So, yes. Great. Yeah, that would be the worst, man. Oof. Honestly, we could have a whole show on etiquette. On things in public that irk you that people actually do. I'll guarantee you in the next 10 minutes, the text line will be humming on examples of that. Because and it's flabbergasting to me that people aren't aware of this. That's what I don't understand. Like, how do you get to the point where you're so void of an understanding of certain ways to act properly in a public setting? Where do we go so far off the rails, Cons?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's many things I've talked about on the show. Not returning your shopping cart to me is a big one. Leaving a mess at the fast food place because you're too important to clean it up. That's one.
Yeah.
Just talking on the phone in public on a speakerphone. There's many that we could get into here. Yeah. I will say that one of the biggest rants I think I've ever had, Gregor, on the show was about not waving when someone lets you in.
Mm-hmm.
I was let into 2 spots on the weekend, and I threw up the hand to wave, and I got the biggest smiles and a wave back. It seemed like it made their day.
It does.
We got to do it more.
100%. The wave is great. See, my son asked me, he goes, Dad, why do you wave? He said, because it's courteous to let you in. And then you're acknowledging their niceness, basically. Because when he reads a book like, Fill Their Bucket, anybody who's read that knows what it's talking about. Because I was saying, well, you know what? You give them the wave, it's filling their bucket knowing that their good deed was acknowledged. And that's all people want. Hey, thanks. All right. Way you go.
Everyone leaves happy.
Love the wave. Love the wave. Let's get to Connor Halley, Sports 1440 update. You know what else we love? Booster Juice. And right now, they've got the secret smoothie menu. But guess what? They will tell you what they are. All you got to do is download the app and find out the secret smoothie menu. It's worth it. Only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It's game day. The Edmonton Oilers preseason rolls on in Winnipeg. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Stuart Skinner gets a nod between the pipes in this one. Elsewhere on the NHL, we're minutes away from puck drop as the Lightning host the Panthers. Blues taking on the Jackets. Devils and Capitals. Later tonight, the Red Wings are in Chicago. Stars host the Wild. Flames meet the Canucks. And the Golden Knights taking on the LA Kings. Major League Baseball today. The Jays about 10 minutes away from first pitch as they take on the Red Sox. Elsewhere, you got the Tigers up on the Rays 1-0. Brewers, Pirates, Royals, Nationals both scoreless, and the Phillies lead the Cubs 4-0. Later tonight, the Marlins in Minnesota. D-backs host the Giants. Rangers take on the Athletics, and it's the Dodgers hosting the Pirates. Earlier today, Mariners knocked off the Astros 8-1. WNBA playoffs game 2 tonight in Connecticut as the Sun hosts the Fever. Sun lead 1-0 in that one. Tip-off 5:30. At 7:30, the Lynx will look to take a 2-0 series lead over the Mercury. And some news from the NFL as Denver Broncos linebacker Alex Singleton's season is over. The former CFL standout suffered a torn ACL in the team's win over the Buccaneers. The injury happened in the first quarter. Singleton remained in the game for the remainder, finishing with 10 tackles. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Neville Gallimore, defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here for Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Mr. Rooter goes for a fall stroll.
Ah, the beauty of fall. These leaves are crunchier than that calcified shower head I replaced this morning. And the earthy yellow, oranges, and browns are as colorful as the wad of hair I pulled out of the shower drain.
Ugh, Mr. Rooter, can we talk about something else?
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you didn't like fall. You look about as sour as the sewer line I unclogged yesterday.
For a plumber you'll truly fall for. Call Mr. Rooter.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. your love for the game, and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Ready to tackle your toughest tasks? Edmonton Kubota has you covered with the all-new M8 Series tractor. With powerful 181 and 201 horsepower engines, Cummins power, and loader readiness, it's built to handle any challenge. And now, for a limited time, get a free 4-year extended warranty when you drive off with an M8 Series tractor. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Visit Edmonton Kubota today and power up your productivity. Edmonton Kubota, where power meets performance.
A delicious new deal is at Tim's. $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich when you buy any size hot or iced coffee. You heard that right. Just $3 for a classic breakfast sandwich with Canada's favorite coffee. Terms apply. See app for details.
It's time for Tim's.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Just after 5 o'clock. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook and X. We appreciate you along for the ride. As always, busy show, really insightful show if you want to learn a little bit behind the scenes, as we had 30-plus year cameraman David Parker in today talking about Olympics and World Series and Rashog's tendency to just jump into strange vehicles. Odd. Very, that's kind of an odd trait to have. Might have to dig into that one a little bit more. Be aware of your surroundings. And also, the greatest name change in podcast history, I think. Cons. Hey, as of said, got your back should be more about focus on the front. Talking about the hairline of those two hosts. And that was from Dave. That was... Great, witty guy, good camera guy, very witty guy, very witty guy. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Good luck tonight if you're in the Lotto 649. Hey, can the Jays get a win before the season's over? You can get in on that. and more at playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. Oilers, Winnipeg tonight. It is the 4th of 8 preseason games. The second one on the road, second one against the Jets. After tonight, they'll have 2 against Vancouver, home and away, 2 against Seattle, home and away. The next 2 are in Edmonton, Saturday, Monday, and then next week they will finish up in Seattle on Friday. And I can't remember the Vancouver games. Seattle's next Wednesday, and then it's Friday or Saturday. I can't remember. I haven't looked that far ahead, but and I know the preseason is over, and we'll get to the regular season where the Oilers will kick it off 2 weeks from today against the very same Winnipeg Jets, except the game will be in Edmonton, and they will raise the banner that night for the Western Conference. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They are all in charge of your underground infrastructure. You need to build a good team, you got to have a solid base. It's like the underground infrastructure. Nothing really works if it doesn't start underground. At GS Construction, as Mark Spector joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Parks, you had Parks on the show, huh? I heard a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, it was it's good stuff. Some interesting, kind of about how you want to tell the story and different things, and from a camera angle, the news stories and some of the things you shoot. So it's pretty unique. Before we get to sports, Beck, I want to ask you, Con Man's fired up again. What is the one thing that people do in public that's like that should be you would look and say, dude, like that's just a public faux pas about manners that irks you?
People who stand in the middle of a doorway or a hallway looking at their phone. I think most of those things today, whatever used to bug you 20 years ago, they've been taken over by phone faux pas. The guy walking down the middle of a crowded place, but now he was walking at a good pace, except then he got his text message and now he's slowed down to a crawl and he doesn't know it. And he's holding everybody up at an airport or in a hallway. So that's probably mine. Like, don't stand in a doorway and send a text, you tool. That guy probably.
Yeah, I like it. One guy goes, I tell people it's not a walkie-talkie, it's a phone. That's actually a good line. Might have to use it sometime. Oilers tonight. Stuart Skinner has asked for this game. So he's going to face a lot of NHL shooters. The Jets going with a very heavy NHL lineup tonight. Definitely the most NHL players we've seen this preseason in one game for one team. And the Oilers got a few of them, but it's a lot of guys, Spec, bottom 6 guys, Janmark Brown, Derek Ryan, and then a boatload of guys who are, I'm not sure how much of an opening there is, but Lane Peterson, Hamlin, Philp are all in the lineup, and they're all battling for one potential spot.
Yeah, they're not all making this team, right? If it goes the way we think, maybe one of them makes it. So it'll be fun to see them all in the same game. And, guys know the situation, right? Guys look around the dressing room and they're saying, okay, we're all shooting for the same position here. So that's good. I see Derek Ryan's out in the wing, which tells me that, I don't know. Let's just say for fun, that's one of those other guys was so good, he was going to be your fourth line center. That would tell me that the fourth line right wing would be a Perry Ryan platoon for much of the season, right? Is that how it would end up working out?
Yeah, possibly. Or they just know what Derek Ryan brings at center, so they're not playing him there.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'll be fun. And I totally get playing Skinner in this game. Like, what you don't want is to, put Skinner in for one of his few preseason starts and put him behind such a mismatch that he's only going to get 7 shots. Like, he should play in this game because he's going to see tons of rubber. They have him scheduled, I think, for half the game, and maybe if he doesn't get enough rubber, 2 periods. But I don't think that should be a problem tonight. He'll see some pucks from that Jets lineup.
Oh, he'll get some shots, no question, which is what you want. And I know it doesn't matter if they give up a few goals. I think that's kind of, for Stuart Skinner, it's about getting your timing back, left to right, all the stuff that you don't see in practice, even when McDavid and them are shooting on you, because practice is practice, but it's not ever at the exact same pace, the same battle level. Guys aren't shooting to score, ripping it over, through a screen or at a screen like you would be. So you can't face that until you get into a game. And I think it was kind of smart decision by Skinner to say, yeah, I'll take that one. Because the next 2 games for the Oilers, Spec, with Vancouver and Seattle on the road, they probably won't have a lot of NHL guys in those lineups.
Yeah. Wait a second now. But they have one on Monday. Who's here? Is it Vancouver?
Yeah.
On Monday, and the Oilers will probably dress a pretty good lineup too. So
No,
sure.
no, but I meant Vancouver. Like if I'm the goalie, I
Oh,
want
I
to
see.
face NHL shooters. And I don't know if Vancouver and Seattle's road teams are that heavily laden with, because, you know, they still got games later in the week.
I agree. No, I agree. Like it's not about, a few pucks went past me. That doesn't matter. It's about how am I feeling? I'm going to make some saves. Fine. Just getting ready for a season. I know it's hard for hockey fans. You want your team to win and you want your players all to play well, but there is a process here, right? And when you're a goalie, inevitably that process means some pucks get past you into the net, and it's just the way it works. So don't sweat it. These guys know what they're doing. When the first game comes, they better be more ready than they were last year, because there's a whole bunch of guys who started the season last year and weren't ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, last year they got, which was kind of an oddity for them because the other years had really good starts, and then they had a month lull in November, December. So to me, it's just their month lull came earlier than normal. Whatever, I don't care if it's October, November, December, January. This team can have an extended where it's 2-8-1, 1-8-2, and they've had one of those almost every year.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, it was really cool. What'd they win? 15 in a row there?
16.
Around the All-Star break? 16 in a row.
Yeah.
Right. So that was great. You don't mind seeing that kind of streak. But the 1-8-2 thing, that doesn't work so well. So, listen, get a good start. They're a good team. Get firing on all cylinders. There's some stuff to work out here. This isn't just a cruise to the playoffs. Like, there's some changes on this team. There's some differences on this team. We all feel they're good enough to be able to survive and win enough games while they iron out, the Broberg-Holloway situation. Will they iron out what's going on our defense? We lost 3 guys. Will they iron out, we're not as fast up front as they used to be. Like, this isn't the same team. So, they got some stuff to iron out, but I think they've got the experience, Jay, not to suffer, a wicked, terrible 3-week stretch while they're ironing out these problems.
Yeah, no, exactly. They, they do have a favorable schedule in the regular season, 6 of their first 8 at home, and they got a lot of teams who were playoff teams last year. So theoretically, they should get off to a good start. I think, to me, the one area of their team that I'm interested the most in is the penalty kill, because they've lost a lot of guys. Fogel's gone, McLeod's gone, Cece's gone, Desharnais's gone. And those guys, were some of their, Cody Cece played the most penalty kill minutes of anybody. And, Desharnais was up there a lot, especially with Ekholm. So I'm curious to see how they transfer their penalty kill by losing so many pieces.
Listen, Cody Cece is going to be an excellent example of there's every chance that a lot of Oilers fans who beat Cody Cece up for the last 3 years, insufferably. Everything, every move he made was the wrong move for some people in this town. Now you're going to look at a bunch of guys who aren't near as experienced, frankly, aren't near as good right now as Cody Cece. And you might think, Cody Cece wasn't as bad as we thought. I don't know if Emerson can kill penalties in the NHL. Frankly, having played only 30 games and all of them for the San Jose Sharks, right? He hasn't played in games that meant a whole lot yet. Josh Brown, he was in Arizona. Let's see what he's got on a good team where you think you can win every single night. It's a different situation playing for the Oilers than it is playing for the Coyotes. So let's see. But I'm here to tell you, Jay, I mean, I don't think I'll be surprised. There are going to be some people who go, man, why are all these goals going in? Well, part of the reason is going to be because Cody Cece's playing somewhere else.
Yeah, he'll impact. The thing about the penalty kill that's rare, it's never just one guy, right? It's kind of the unit, and they get together as a real group. And, Brown and Janmark are good penalty killers. Nugent Hopkins, a good penalty killer. Podkolzin's done it. It's just, to me, if they get into their system, because last year their penalty kill was extremely successful because of how aggressive they were. And when they were aggressive, everybody was aggressive. So I think it's as much about individuals as much about the timing of the group, and just to see, how do they get there? Do they have everybody who's confident to believe, okay, well, if A goes here, then I got to go. Not A goes here. Ooh, I hesitate, because if you hesitate, then you're done.
Yeah, and, it took a long time. Like they were really good down the stretch. In the playoffs, they were unbelievable. Like, and what a difference. It just, we have covered Oilers teams that couldn't keep a power play goal out of their net. And it just, it's mentally, it's just such a tax on a team. A guy goes to the box, you think, oh my God, here we go. And the opposite was true in the playoffs. Like they were, I'm not sure I've ever seen such a strong PK in the playoffs by anybody. They were unbelievably good. I'm not sure you can absolutely recreate that, but having done it before, they've got the experience, and fitting new guys into a PK that's actually done it right is a lot easier than bringing a bunch of guys together and trying to do it for the first time.
Mark Spector Jones is here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Spec, I know you're a huge baseball guy. You see the Padres last night. They end the game on a triple play to clinch the playoffs. They have had 8 games. They've had 8 games, I think, where they've overcome an 8-run deficit this year, which is mind-blowing. Like that Padres team is the best team in baseball since the All-Star break. They're now only 2 games behind the Dodgers, so theoretically could still catch them. The Detroit Tigers have come out of nowhere. You got a lot of these teams at the bottom now that are going to be playoff teams. The Major League Baseball playoff specs could be a hell of a matchup here with, I don't know if there's any clear favorites.
I love the fact that Detroit came out of nowhere. Like they're an old school team. They're like the Lions. Their fans have done nothing but suffer for the longest time. I mean, last time Detroit was any good, I was a kid with Lou Whitaker and all those, Chet Lemon and those guys. I want to ask you this. How do they get a triple play on a guy who's got 50 stolen bases this year? How does he not run that out? Shohei, right? He hit into that triple play, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. And how does the guy catches it? He has to take 2 or 3 steps to get to the bag at third. Then they turn a triple play. If you notice in the highlight, Shohei's hustling like hell at the end. That's because he was dogging it for the first 10 steps. So that's a Dodgers team that's, they're in the playoffs or whatever. But it's fun. Triple plays, man. When's the last? I think they said the last time there was a walk-off triple play was like 2006 or something. So it's a ton of fun. We all love fall ball, right? You get to come home, you're doing some work for an earlier game. There's a game on at 1:00. Awesome. Great time of year, man. I can't wait for it.
Spec, I agree with you. Have a good one. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see how the Oilers fare against the JE.
Yeah, watching it on a computer screen. It should be, I don't know, do we have any intel on this thing? Is this going to be actually on TSN 3 or what do we know?
Well, if it's on TSN 3, it's blacked out in this region anyway.
Yeah, it's got to be. Sometimes
TSN they don't have national rights. So now if you have the center ice package, you'll get the TSN 3 channel.
Do we have that yet? Is that going yet? I haven't even got an email from those guys. So anyways,
usually it is for preseason. Yeah. Let's
figure it out, man. Enjoy the game tonight, folks. Talk to you in the morning.
You betcha. There you go. That's Mark Spector. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, very special guest joining us. He is currently defensive lineman for the LA Rams. Neville Gallimore joins us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's wall-to-wall savings at the Brick, where you can find deals for every room in every department. Take up to $540 off sectionals and find other amazing savings on all the essentials for your home, like up to 40% off mattresses and up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Plus, don't forget about your kitchen and buy more, save more, up to an additional $300 off select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
At Fountain Tire, we love jingles. Get up to 25% off select tires.
Until October 19th.
Plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150.
Restrictions apply.
Book online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation.
With Sierra's 13.4-inch diagonal premium GMC infotainment system with Google built-in compatibility, available off-road package with hill descent control, plus an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine, you can take the road less traveled and try new things, like fishing or whitewater rafting. I should have gone fishing. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's a September to remember, as in remember new schedules, remember where you left your jacket, remember wearing jackets, and remember to get yourself a new Sherwood Honda. You must remember that Sherwood Honda has your best deal, and finding the right vehicle now at Sherwood Honda sure would make memories for years to come. This little tune should help you remember.
.520. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Neville Gallimore will be joining us momentarily, we hope. D. Lyman for the LA Rams coming off that massive win. How about the fact that that was the first time for Shanahan that he's lost a game when he had a 14-point lead? So not only was it a huge comeback, it's you just haven't seen Shanahan coach team like that gas the lead. So a huge comeback for the LA Rams. Early, and you could tell it was a big deal. Like, did you see the celebration on the sidelines from their coach, from everybody? It's huge, man. Like, I don't care how old you are, sports is still loads and loads of fun. Those type of situations, and it's crazy how one game like that, man, we've seen teams, it turns a whole season around. Now, they got a ton of injuries, so I'm not saying that that's going to be the case with them, but who knows? It might be. Right now, they got the Bears this week, saying they can't beat the Bears. Now, the Bears had some excitement of their own this past weekend, so they're probably feeling pretty good too. But it'll be fascinating. What about Cincinnati? They're on the road. They're 0-3, taking on Carolina. They can't lose in Carolina, can they? Well, Carolina just won a game, so never know, man. If you're the Bengals, you got to be pretty upset. Parker, Dave Parker, just texting the show. Hey guys. Dropped my son off at Ball. Now I'm going for a walk in the Devon River Valley. There's not a lot of people here, but I'm listening on my phone because I don't have my headphones. Is that bad etiquette? Well, there's always exceptions, Dave. You're out in a river valley. There's not a lot of people around you. So a little bit different. And you're listening to the show that a lot of people like. So at least that's what we tell ourselves. So might be a rare exception. At least you're outside. I kind of get it. You know, like maybe you can have it where you turn the volume down if you walk past a group. Or maybe just start running, because then you'll run past them and they won't really hear the sound for more than 5 or 7 seconds. So then it's not as bad. That could be good. And it was Rojas who wasn't Shohei. Shohei might have beat out the triple play. It was Rojas who hit into it. Either way, it was a hell of a triple play. and to end the game against a team that you're trying to catch still. So, like, if you're looking for sports and maybe you don't want to watch online the Oilers game tonight, that Padres-Dodger game is one you might want to check out. There's still huge playoff implications on the line there. The Oilers, if you miss it, because we keep getting a lot of texts, people wondering about the line combinations tonight. Again, I just want to say, Knoblauch said the lines are going to switch around a little bit, but to start, Janmark and Brown will have young Sam O'Reilly as their center iceman. James Hamlin's going to have Derek Ryan on his right wing, likely Drake Caggiula on his left. And then the other 6 forwards, Peterson and Philp are the centers. Arvidsson and Griffith are the right wingers. Hoffman and Savoy are the left wingers. So Philp and Griffin, I'm going to guess, are going to play together. Peterson with Arvidsson. So then did they put Savoy with Peterson and Arvidsson, or did they put Savoy with Philp and Griffin? Because good chance they might all be in the American League. And then you put Hoffman with Arvidsson, who's not another NHLer. I think we could see that to start. But then you got Kulak and Emerson. They'll play together. Deneen, Wayner, Hoffenmeyer, and Carrick. And Stu Skinner will get the start. Capo Kakinen will be in goal for the Winnipeg Jets. The Oilers then have 2 more home preseason games coming up this Saturday and Monday, and then they will head out on the road to end their preseason. So see where it goes. But and if you want more information on lines, etc., so because we got a lot of text people wondering about, well, why aren't they playing Draisaitl and Skinner and Arvidsson together? The coach says he thinks they need 2 or 3 games together for the lines, and he did say that he expects all of his guys play 4 games. So if we do the math in our head, the Oilers have 4 games left after tonight. Draisaitl's played 1 game. He's probably going to play 3 of the final 4. Connor McDavid's played 1 game. He's going to play 3 of the final 4. And that, and considering it sounds like they're going to play both those final 2 games, that means you'll get them on one of the final 2 home games of the preseason. Now, usually they like to have McDavid and Draisaitl in the same game because then their power play can get work. So do they play McDavid and Draisaitl on Saturday? I think there's a good chance. I don't think they'd play them 3 games in a row. I could be wrong. But I would guess you see them Saturday. Maybe they don't see them Monday, and then they play Wednesday, and then their last preseason game in Vancouver. No, okay. So Neville Gallimore, we just got a text from their PR staff, great PR staff with the LA Rams, just saying film was a little bit late, so he'll be about 3 more minutes, and then he will be joining us. Of course, product of the University of Oklahoma, fresh out of Ottawa, is Gallimore. We've had him on the show before. Being in the NFL for a while, of course, was a 3rd round pick in the 2020 NFL draft, has been with the Cowboys for 3 years, was with the Dolphins, got released, got picked up by the LA Rams, and had a pretty successful start here with the Rams. So we'll talk to him about that and Dallas and much, much more. 833-401-1440. Here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Hey guys, are there anybody you expect on waivers that the Oilers could claim? Oh man. I don't. Well, first of all, it's way too early. It's a good question probably for next week when teams get down to and you got 2 or 3 cuts left, and then I can kind of dig into who's left on the rosters, and then you look, okay, well, who has waivers, who doesn't have waivers. I don't know if I see the only way I could see Edmonton picking up someone on waivers would be a right shot center who's younger, who's cheap, and is a good penalty killer. Other than that, I don't, because you got to remember, whoever they claim on waivers, they got to be on the team. So, hey guys, why do you keep talking about who will win the spot at the extra forward? Can't accrue cap space if they do that. How can they accrue if they put 14 forwards, including Kane, on the roster? You expect them to only keep 6D? But to me, I start with 13 forwards, 6D, so as much space as can be accrued from Brad. Well, Brad, the Oilers currently have 13 forwards on the roster. You go McDavid's line, you go Draisaitl's line, you go Henrik's line, then you go Podkolzin, Perry, and Ryan and Kane. That's 13. And you go 7 forwards, that's 20 and 22. Right? So they have that. And that still leaves them $950,000 shy of the cap. So they add another player who's, if it's Hamblin or these guys are all at the league minimum, $775. Same with Raphael Lavoie. So then they'd have $200K in cap space. I know everybody talks about accruing cap space. Like this is something the Oilers are just going to, somebody has a nagging injury, you need an extra body around. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. They're not going to worry about accruing the little bit of cap space all the time and then be flying guys in at the last second to do it. So you might have days where they do it. I don't see it extended period of time because all it takes is one player to have a nick where he's out for a week. Can't put him on LTIR, which they don't want to anyway. But he's on the IR, so he still counts in the roster. They'll have to pull someone up. I think people are, I've seen it because everybody reads Puckpedia and they see that Puckpedia has $945K and they're just like, oh, well, they're going to accrue that and it's going to turn into $4 million. Yeah, that's in the utopia salary cap world. It's not the reality of the salary cap world. It's not going to happen. The Oilers aren't going to run with 7 defensemen and 12 forwards and have no nagging injuries at any point and accrue all the cap space. It's just not happening because it's not realistic. So they will, and keeping an extra forward, it might not happen for game one. Sure. But they're not going to have 12 forwards and 7 defensemen, and definitely not 6. All it takes is a guy to get sick on game day, and then what? They're not going to do that. This is the NHL. It's more important, right, to make sure that you have a good lineup. You're not taxing your guys because you're worried about accruing a little bit of cap space for those days. Now, they can do it where, okay, we got 4 home games. It's early on. There's no AHL games. You can send guys there, do whatever. It's fine, right? Or a way to get around it if they want. If they wanted to be cheeky, this is what they could do. They could go 12-6, as you suggested. Have 2 goalies. Technically 13-6 because it's Kane. And then they could keep Mike Hoffman and Travis Dermott and just practice them. Remember when in the Olympics the center Kelly was here, older guy, and he practiced for 2 months, was never signed? You could do that. So in theory, if they really wanted to stretch it and protect themselves, that is something they could do. I'm not sold they will, but it is an option. If you really want to get cheeky, it's all within the rules. That's something they could do. But then you got to expose Brown or Stetcher, somebody to waivers. Maybe they don't want to do that. So you always got to keep that in mind too. So let's get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Plan ahead. The winter's coming. Hopefully not for a while, but you want to be prepared when it does, that you're nice and warm. LegacyHeating.ca. And we are proud to have on the program number 92 defensive lineman for the LA Rams. Of course, was the 3rd round selection in the NFL draft in 2020. Has been in the NFL since in Dallas and Miami, and now with the Rams. And we are joined by Neville Gallimore. Neville, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. The excitement of that win, Neville. I know that, hey, it's the NFL and wins matter, but some wins just seem a little bit more special than others when you have that big of a comeback, when you got that many injuries. My goodness, that had to be one of the more enjoyable victories of your career.
No, absolutely. Anytime I feel like when you're labeled as the underdog going into that week, man, when you get an opportunity to perform, in a big time game and then to get away with the win like that, man, it's always great. But it's NFL, man. It's hard to win in this league, so we're thankful for that. But obviously, you gotta be prepared and get right for the next one.
You've been around the NFL since 2020 now, Neville. I think you got a good handle on it. So if we talk to a young Neville Gallimore and now today, what's the biggest thing you've learned your last 4.5 years in the NFL?
Man, like the biggest thing, what I would tell my younger self is, don't look too far ahead. Stay present, enjoy the process, and continue to be confident in yourself, man. Anybody who's in the league, we're here for a reason, and just to continue to have fun, man. We get an opportunity to play a child's game at a high level, man. And sometimes you get caught up at looking too far ahead, and when we should be really, just be happy and be grateful for the opportunity to grind right now. So I would tell my younger self that, man, and make sure you run it. Come do it now. I'm sure you'll run it, man. Gotta be safe in this league. Man.
Well, it's true. And you just went through it, right? And I'm sure, mentally it's challenging. You get released by Miami and boom, you get picked up by LA. But for that brief time when a player gets released, like I'm guessing you got to really talk positive to yourself in that moment and not let it get you down. How did you deal with that situation with the Dolphins?
I'm like I said, for me, I'm a man of faith. I got a great support system, and I got a fantastic wife. So, she didn't really let me get that opportunity to get down on myself. But it's tough, man. It's tough as an athlete. It's tough as a competitor. You fight your tail off to get to the NFL. And, what I would also tell, I know we spoke on that earlier, but I'll tell my younger self, man, it's hard to get here. It's even harder to stay. So for me in that moment, for that split second, a lot of emotion because, you feel like you've done, what you could, but at the same time, you trust your training, you trust your agent, you got to trust yourself to do your job. And the worst thing I could have done was not stay ready and not have my mental right, because soon, thank the Lord, as soon as, I got released within a few hours, I get a call from LA, said they can use a guy like me. So I really didn't have time to really get in my feelings because the next day I had to go.
Yeah, and that's obviously a great thing. And then you get into LA, and you got two young coaches who very different. Tell me kind of the differences. Two coaches that are very highly respected in McDaniels and McAvey. What kind of differences have you seen from those two?
Man, I just think we're not. Well, definitely, I will say the difference is, they got their own little sauce, but I feel like the similarities in terms of, I feel like they do a great job, obviously reaching, just being connected to their players.
Yeah.
I even my short time in Miami, I enjoyed it there. It did feel like home. I feel like Coach Mike McDaniels, he does a great job in just bringing that chemistry to the room. He made it obviously a joy to come to work. And when I got to LA, it was no different. Coach McVay welcomed me with open arms. The rest of the staff did as well. And it felt like as soon as I got down here, it didn't really take me much time to get adjusted. Everybody was very welcoming. He created a very competitive, but, family-oriented environment. And, to get that and have that stand out within, a couple of days of being here, I feel like it speaks volumes, and I don't know, maybe it's because, younger in age, they know how to relate to players, but, one of the first things I noticed is, man, these guys get busy, they get active, they compete at a very, very high level. But on top of that, like the camaraderie, the chemistry here is amazing. There's nobody here that's bigger than the team, and we all have fun. We enjoy being around each other, and we all get after it. And honestly, I feel like any where I've been at, whenever you can go to work and it doesn't feel like work, I feel like that's a great thing because we're here all day.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can to get ready for the next point. So when you get to enjoy coming to work, and you look at the time and like, oh man, you don't even realize you've been here for that long. So I feel like Coach McVay brought that to the table when I was in Miami. Same thing, obviously, when I was in Dallas. Same thing as well.
Neville Gallimore, nose tackle for the LA Rams, joins us. And, you mentioned McVay, and I got to think as a player, when you see your coach just as fired up as all the guys on the sidelines after a big win, he's jumping around, like it just kind of feels even more like a team. And you've been around the league long enough. And of course, 4 years at Oklahoma, a big win can change things. Like it can change that quickly. All of a sudden, the group's confidence, the excitement, everything. And you get a win like that. How much easier is it when it comes to work? And do you sense a difference even in your group now as you prepare to take on Chicago this weekend?
I never want to use, the word easy in this league. Nothing comes easy, but definitely just in terms of, it just goes to show what happens when guys, make a decision, to lock in and to do their job to the best of their abilities. I feel like, one thing about Coach McVay really preaches that I respect and appreciate there, we always needed the people in this room, in this facility, in this place to make what we want happen. And it just shows when you got a coach that's just as fired up, just as locked in, and, has that same level of energy that's, every day, day in and day out, it's easy for guys like myself and the rest of the players to feed off that. And, that's a credit to him. And also I appreciate it, he also, is a way to keep us grounded and to keep focusing at the task at hand. That was a major win. I think it was a great win, at home. My first time, obviously playing as an LA Ram, but, just to see how he was just able to, kind of just command the team to perform. And it's something to build off of, right? That's one win. It was great and all, but, obviously we need more Raps for some bigger because, we got the Bears this week. We got to lock in there. And as good as that win was, we got to go do it again and again and again. You know how the league works.
Yeah. Well, and Neville, what's impressive about that win, and I understand the saying next man up, that, if you get injuries, you don't want to use an excuse, and it's not an excuse, but man, when you're losing 60% of your offensive line and your key receivers and your key running backs and D linemen, like it becomes harder, right? Like that's just the truth. Yet your team was able to do it. Is that, as a new guy on that team, you look around and you're just like, man, like guys are dropping like flies here, but it didn't negatively affect the team. How are you able to overcome that rash of injuries as a group?
Like it just goes back to, like, I just feel like, the energy, the mindset here, that what I recognize, all three when I got here, that moment isn't ever too big for anybody here. I feel like with injuries, in the league it happened, but here, when it did happen, nobody folded. Everybody who had to step up, and that's what it's gonna take. Obviously, if you want to continue to build, guys stay ready? Can guys be ready to go when their name's called? Because it can happen at any moment in this league, and I feel like the guys here, have shown that they can stay ready. That they can stay ready and get ready to perform in. And that's the beauty of it. The coaches here done a great job to where if everybody just does their job the best way they can, they don't got to worry about anything else. We'll be fine. You know what I mean? And you don't have to worry about trying to do anything extra except for doing our job at a high level.
Neville, we really appreciate your time. Continued success. Enjoy LA, and we'll talk to you again soon, my man.
I appreciate it too, guys, man. Thanks a lot.
You betcha. That's Neville Gallimore, nose tackle for the LA Rams. How about that comeback? First time ever in Shanahan's coaching career that he had a 14-point lead and lost. So it's tough to come back 14 points, especially, now, hey, San Fran's had the injury issues of their own. No question about it. There's some key playmakers, right? Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, their running back, Christian McCaffrey, pretty good player. But the Rams didn't use their injuries as an excuse. They came back. Now they go to the Bears and maybe all of a sudden a chance to go 2-2.
And Gregor, one more thing that I think they made that probably a little bit more sweet. Niners fans took over SoFi. Like they invaded it, similar to the way the Raiders might do. So when the Chargers played them, they took it over, and the Rams to get that win for the fans there and for themselves. I bet that made it just a little sweeter to send them packing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly saw a video online, big, huge brawl. Just like, I never understood the fans who are that into the game that they feel they got to fight someone because they cheer for the other team. I would put that under my pet peeves of social norms. I don't get it. 5:41. We'll come back, give you a little bit more insight into the Oilers and the Jets tonight. Some numbers on Stu Skinner and more on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And we'll get some of your final text, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting!
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting! Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The Canada-wide clearance is on at Chevrolet. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST. Explore downtown hotspots with standard Chevrolet safety assist, including automatic emergency braking and HD surround vision camera. Or take on the great outdoors with an available 3-liter Duramax diesel engine and available in-vehicle trailering app. Oh, look, a cute chipmunk. Not so cute. Not so cute. Ask your Chevrolet dealer for details.
5:44. Edmonton Oilers making some roster moves today as they have sent 9 players down. Players who were released from their PTO or ATO: Jasper Weatherby, Brett Brochu, Connor Corcoran, Alex Canuck-Liepert, Cam Wright. And they are reporting to Bakersfield, so they'll go down there and compete for a spot and try to earn a contract there. Then they have Matvey Petrov, Connor Unger, Jaden Gruby, and James Steffen, who are also going down to Bakersfield. So that's 9 players out of camp. Not surprising, right? Like, obviously none of those players are going to make the team this year. Out of those players, if I look, Petrov, Gruby are probably the 2 guys that they hope down the road could maybe at some point play for the team. We'll see. Petrov, this is a big year for him. It's his 2nd year in pro, and this is where you got to take some strides. First year can be tough for a lot of players. 20 years of age, first year turning pro. They had a few more veterans maybe than they would have liked. So now we'll see what happens for the Oilers and the young guys. Some of those other guys, I'm just not sure. I will say, though, that Canuck-Liepert, I quite liked him. Now, I'm not saying I liked him to be an NHL player, but I looked and say, hey, I think there's a player with some skill there. He's got some potential. So we'll see where it goes from there. So. Hey, guys, my pet peeve of social norms is adult men who wear pajamas to the store in the evening. Put on jeans from Tyler. Doesn't like the PJ. What if they're Lululemon pants? Because now they have like the Lulu pants that look like jeans. Could do that. We talked about that, your pet peeves for sure. Guys, big one is when you're walking down the mall at the grocery store and a group of people will just stop in the aisle and block people from walking by you. Or if you need something off the shelf, they just stand there. Also, guys that walk around with their pants hanging down halfway down their butt. Pull your pants up. It looks ridiculous. From JC. Hey, guys, no joke. I was in West Edmonton Mall, phase 4. There was a woman walking around clipping her nails. Pardon? Like her fingernails? Well, obviously we couldn't be walking and clipping her toenails, but yeah. I don't know what people in there like thinking anywhere in public, clipping your nails, not good. That's a big faux pas. Hey guys, what about when there's numerous cashiers open and people line up in one line? Terrible, from Jeff. But doesn't that benefit you? Because then you can just go to the other line. If they're not smart enough, that's where your intelligence benefits you. I'd be like, oh, look, everybody's in one line. Oh, look over there. At the other end, it's wide open. But some people are like, I don't want to walk all the way there. Hey, guys, what about when people are leaving the grocery store and as soon as they walk through the door, they just stop? Because they're outside now? Has that ever happened to you? I'm trying to think. I don't know if that's happened to me. Like they're pushing their cart, maybe? They just put on the brakes?
Not grocery shopping, but as an avid mall walker now, Gregor, for sure. Like people will just walk and then, I want to look in this store. Stop. Like they don't take a step to the side or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Well, people who walk in the mall or even walking on the sidewalks now and they're down on their phone and they're looking. And if it wasn't for me being aware of sidestepping them, you just walk right into them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always kind of tempted to just like, are you kidding me? Like, wake up. I wish you could have like a buzzer. And as you got close, you just hit the buzzer. And it just scares the hell out of them. Get your head up, dummy. Just because you're on your phone. Like, walk is something that important that you can't just walk and be present now. That's crazy.
Or just, head up, take a step to the side.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, hey, if something's important, it's like distracted driving. Just pull over to the side, check your phone, and then get back in there. But yeah, you don't just stop abruptly.
Yeah. Hey, guys, why didn't the Oilers sign Nate Corbett? He had 3 fights in 3 games. Wow, just because you fight 3 times as an 18-year-old in the rookie camp, I don't think that's going to earn you an NHL contract. Right? There's only 50 NHL contracts. He'll go back in the draft, and then if he has a really good year, they'll look at him. But I don't think that was going to be enough. You got to be a player more than just a fighter. At least for me anyway. So, yeah, I'm not. I know it stood out now, and good for him. I'm not discounting it, but that 3 fights in a rookie tournament isn't a reason to sign someone to one of your contracts when you have limited amount. So, hey, boys, what about the people who park in handicap zones and have no right to be there, Jordy? Do people really do that on a regular basis? What? Come on now. I know I have a few friends who need the handicap parking. Like, I'll be honest, and it kind of irks my wife because she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "When I go somewhere, I kind of park as far away as I can from." I'm like, "I just want a few extra steps." I said, "I want to park away as far as I can when I'm able-bodied." That's my viewpoint. I just look at it and say, "Here's an opportunity for me to walk a little bit farther because I can do it." Because maybe there's someone coming, senior citizen, who, you know what, they might appreciate the closer parking stall. I always park far away. And you know what? If I'm far away, there's 0 chance I'm getting door dents either. That's a benefit to it. But it's not why I do it, but it's an added benefit. But I do. I park pretty far away. I never will take up close. I don't know why, but that's just me. But someone parking in the handicap zone that isn't handicapped, I think karma's going to get you someday. That's how I view that. It'll get you.
Saw it a couple months ago, actually, Gregor. Had a very long stare down with the driver.
Did they get out of the vehicle?
They got out of the vehicle and I was just staring to the point where I was like, stop staring at him. Like, no, someone could need that spot.
Did you ask him, say, "Hey, why are you parking there?"
Nah, we were slowly backing out and pulling away.
Okay. You were in.
I was a tough guy from afar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
But your point was made, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably will never do that again. Psyched him out. It was actually a girl.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. Women. Come on, ladies. Hey, guys, realistically, don't you think the Oilers roster is set? Podkolzin, Ryan, and Perry are going to be the 4th line. The 3rd line's Henry, Janmark, and Brown. We know the top 2 lines. Nurse and Emberson. Stetcher and Brown will rotate on the right pair, and they'll go with the 2 goalies. I don't think there's any drama. If I was a betting man, I would probably lead to that. But I still think there's a chance. They might look at lots of situations. They look at waivers. If somebody plays really well here down the stretch and you're just worried about, the Oilers don't have a ton of depth. So that might play into it, possibly. But if I was a betting man, I probably would agree with you. On behalf of Halley, Declan, and Kate, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. If you missed any of it, go to jasongregor.com for interviews or anywhere where you get podcasts. Highly recommend our Who Is It Wednesday guest, Dave Parker, today. It was fantastic. Coming up tomorrow, we'll talk a little bit about the Oiler game. Set up the Elks and the Bombers. Thursday night football. TR is back. We'll go off the rails a little bit. It'll be a great time. Hope you join us. Let's get to Connor Halley, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. Furnace AC kicks out tonight. Call them. No overtime charges. LegacyHeating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It is game day. We're about 10 minutes away from puck drop as the Oilers taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Stewart's going to get the start for the Oil currently right now. Panthers Lightning tied at 2 after 20 minutes. Jackets up on the Blues 1-0. And the Capitals trail the Devils by that same score. Later on, you have the Blackhawks hosting the Red Wings, the Wild in Dallas. Canucks taking on the Flames, and the Kings head to Sin City. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays are in action right now, top of the fourth between them and the Red Sox. This one is scoreless. Orioles have a 3-1 lead over the Yankees. Royals on top of the Nationals 1-0. The Rays trail the Tigers 3-1 heading into the fifth. And the Guardians up on the Reds 2-0. In Philadelphia, the Phillies lead the Cubbies 8-5. That one's in the sixth. Later tonight, Dodgers host the Padres. Rangers in Oakland. Diamondbacks up against the Giants. And the Cards travel to Denver to take on the Rockies. Earlier today was the Mariners beating up on the Astros 8-1. WNBA action right now. The Fever of Indiana leading the Connecticut Sun 14-13 in the first quarter. Connecticut leads that series 1-0. And later tonight, the Lynx look to take a 2-0 series lead over the Mercury. Tip-off set for 7:30 from the NFL. Denver Broncos linebacker Alex Singleton. Season is over. The former CFLer tore his ACL in Sunday's victory over the Buccaneers. The injury happened in the first quarter. Singleton remained in the game and finished with 10 tackles. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio. We're back live tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.